Oh, oh, I see people. Hello. Good evening or morning. How are we? You talking to me? Yeah, what are you doing up? I thought I was hosting this so you could nap. Oh, right. Well, I'm sleepy too. But that's because I just woke up. Not yet, no. I rolled out of bed and jumped on my computer. Hey, Jackal, how are you today? Not used to me live streaming. That's because I don't normally live stream. I'm substituting the Loinstream tonight because Ian needs to work to earn her wage and fuel the system. I figured I'd start the stream a little earlier than I planned and just let everyone roll in. Hey, Ruth. How are you? Pound it. You like my notepad? Oh, I had to, put this together in a hurry, so I figured I'd just quickly put it up on the screen with a paperclip. How's everyone's day been? Alright, Ruth, the reason we're doing this book is quite simple. I asked people for short stories, and one person replied. Well, actually, two people replied, but because this is just like a substitute stream, I'm your substitute teacher for the evening. I wanted to read something that we could just like stop at any point and we're all good. On Minds is the social network that I use. But look, it should be fun for two reasons. One, because I'm reading it. Two, because you guys are here in the chat, so that's fun, right? And three, because I've heard this gets a little silly. So we'll see. Like, I have heard good things about this, so we'll see. And the way these are structured is there's like lots of these. They're all like micro stories, so they're all very quick reads, and I think they're all linked together, or they're all like just logging like the events of a mole cop who's a vampire, as far as I'm aware. So we can So, well, there we go. So we can like stop at any point and be like, cool, done. Or we can, continue to read until everyone falls asleep. And there's lots of them. So we'll see how we go. So, and who doesn't like vampires, right? Who doesn't like vampires? With that being said, each one of these stories was based on a visual prompt in a writing contest. Hello, Wally. How are you? Right, that's okay. There we go. Look, we've got some overlap. So you can comment as to the accuracy of what it's like to be a mole cop. Because my only experience with the matter is watching Paul Blart, which I think is accurate, right? Like, that was a documentary. Usagi commenting on this might be a conflict of interest, seeing as, hey Vlad, how are you? Seeing as like this sort of collaborates into her story, her book of Roonies. How about it, good sir? All right, 1 minute to go, and we'll start with the first one. Okay, I'm going to say we begin. This is there's more people here than turned up to my wedding, so yay. I mean, tea is good. Tea definitely is like hand in hand with reading, right? Okay, so this first one is called The Faceless Ones. These are all by Molly Beat. And as I said, they are all based on a visual prompt. So this one was based on a photo of a girl standing in the dark. Australia's really far away. True. True. Okay. So, The Faceless Ones. Spotted her, my human coworker says from my radio. Huh? Who? That faceless one who's been terrorizing people all dang day. That one seen by the window the first time? Affirmative. Slippery things, so hard to pin down once they get startled. Where? Second floor food court, right by you. Be careful, Brian. Don't want her to go back into hiding. On my way. I break into a jog, heading towards it. Paranormal mole security. It's still hard to believe that's a real job. Still, I've been doing this for over a month, so my disbelief had better get with the program and go away. I see her as I approach. The faceless one is short, about 4th, 5th grade. Her dark hair hides her face. It's supposed to be. She's clawing at a ketchup dispenser. Hungry, maybe? That's what drew her out. Excuse me, kid. You're not supposed to be here. She turns towards me and I tense. This is usually the part where they pull their hair away and things get ugly. While most everyone enjoys a good drizzle of ketchup, the faceless ones find that the tomatoey goodness really complements the subtle taste of terrified dying souls. Vampires don't have the pesky things, so I'm safe enough, but I've had faceless ones try. Still hurts. She doesn't attack, she just stares, sort of. But she doesn't. She can't without eyes. Still, I feel a strange sort of desolation in the look that she's giving me. Help me. That's new. Have you got a parent with you? I ask. Yes. Where are they? She turns her head back and forth. I don't know. Do you want help? She nods and takes the hand I offer. I pump her paper cup full of ketchup, and she holds it near the toothy split below her chin, forked tongue occasionally flicking out and taking a lick. Who'd you come here with? My mum. What's her name? Lila Nosegrave. And yours? Nora. I can tell she's scared of me. I don't blame her. I'm muscular for a vampire, and dressed in a bulky black uniform that has security written on it in big silver weaved letters. Not to mention the silver weapons I'm carrying that could melt her skin with a touch. I toss Nora an ectoplasm pudding cup once in the office, and she seems to relax a bit. I make the announcement on the PA system, and we wait for approximately less than a second. The wind rises, and I roll my eyes. An older faceless one surrounded by whipping tendrils of sentient darkness warps through the wall with a howl. Who are you? Who are you? And who dares interrupt my feasting? She shouts. Ma'am, you can't leave your children unattended here. She snatches her daughter away in protective tendrils within seconds. You also can't eat other patrons. I'm going to have to ask you to leave the premise. She roars angrily and vanishes. I click the button on my radio. Hey, I think our faceless problem just got way worse. And that's the end of the first short story. Yeah, look, he was just helping her find her mommy. The creepy girl without a face that has like a split tongue that comes out of her neck and goes... So this next one is called The Cat Lady. Glass breaks. I well. Flashlight bathing what's in front of me. In the corner of my eye, I see a flash of fur dart through a broken window. I curse. It got out. I'm going after it, Dave. My radio crackles. Dang werewolves. Next thing we know, it's going to dig up the landscaping or scare someone off the road while it chases cars. Hang on, I'm switching the camera feed so I can see outside. Okay, you can go after it. I don't think it's a werewolf. Too graceful. Only broke a window, and that was to escape. A canid would wreck everything. I groan. Only thing worse than werewolves is something we don't know about. I'd say there are a lot of things worse than werewolves, but yeah, ignorance might make this hard. I leap through the window and am hit with the acrid scent of cat pee. Smells feline, marking territory. Get ready to call backup. Affirmative. I don't run. I fly. I transform into a bat and to cover more ground. I lose visuals, but gain a boost in hearing and smell. The odor of ammonia makes me nauseous. I hear the monster scratching around in the dirt looking for food. If it's a cat, I should want to hunt me. The small prey animal instincts at the edge of my mind urge me to fly to stay safe, but I disobey them. Better to get caught and know what we're dealing with than let whatever this thing is escape into some suburban neighborhood. Besides, I can handle myself. I fought off a full-grown faceless one a few weeks ago. I can take a cat. Heck, I own a cat. I wonder what Curly would think if he saw me like this. Probably meow, because he's not some cat monster freak. I squeak as claws pierce my wings and I'm yanked out of the air. My back slams into the ground, saliva drips onto my fur, huge teeth hover over me. The beast is lunging towards my head, probably aiming to rip it off and start crunching. I nope right out of that and phase back into a regular vampire shape. Hand on my trank gun, already pulling it out of its holster. This humanoid cat thing meows in surprise when its meal poofs into a security guard. Hey there, I say, and pull the trigger. Its lumps, third snout falling onto my chest. I roll it off and stand up, suddenly noticing that she is much more humanoid than I assumed, prominently female and has nothing covering her but grey fur. I avert my eyes and clear my throat, a bit embarrassed. I hope Dave didn't see that. Bryant, you okay? Talk to me, Bryant. I press the button on my radio. Yeah, I'm okay. I apprehended our creature here. Had to transform. That's why I couldn't talk. What have we got? Some hybrid-looking thing. A humanoid feline chimera. Maybe imagine the term cat lady taken to its most literal. I was looking at the inside of the cameras, and I don't see any point of entry. I think she started in the mall. I look up. It's a full moon. Maybe she's a werecat, Dave says. Got locked in a bathroom and transformed? Maybe... No, wait. She's tagged. I bend down and inspect the red plastic on her ear. Well? Call animal control. She's one of Moreau's. Must have escaped from his shop. Moreau? I thought we banned him from keeping animals. Looks like he ignored that court order and started up his experiments again. Alert the police. I sense a raid on his apothecary in the near future. And that's story number 2. Hey, Molly. I am just going to read them all in the order that they're uploaded, so that's the easiest way for me because my brain is smooth. So I figured that's how I would do it. Glad of you to join, Molly. Molly wrote this, so all questions can go straight to her. It's very rare that we have the author show up for the Loinstream. A junior, yeah, yep. I've got 4, so. Alright, moving on. This one is called Warper, and the prompt was, uses a loop. He's standing by the vending machine, wiggling his fingers in the air like he's puppeteering a marionette. The metal coils spin, letting bag after bag of salt and vinegar chips fall into the receptacle. A dirty thief. This isn't the worst the teenager has done since he's came here. He's stolen worse. He's killed people too. He's made them age backwards to the point where they don't exist, or made them wither and die and disintegrate into piles of bones. One of his victims is a jewelry store owner who was a good friend of mine. I'm already mad at this kid. I'm eager to take him down before the little psycho causes more destruction. He's a warper, a very powerful subcategory of sorcerers with the ability to manipulate the flow of time. You have to sneak up on them and cuff them with silver to negate their powers. I'm a few yards away, creeping forward inch by inch. He's too focused on the machine to notice me. I phase into my bat form and fly into a plant arrangement and listen. His heartbeat is slow and relaxed. He isn't nervous. He either doesn't know I'm hunting him, or he isn't scared of me. I drop from the tree and phase back behind the large pot. I'm a lot closer, about 8 feet. And he's running. Of course he is. I spring to my feet and charge after him. Stop! I pass the fountain hot on his tail. Then I pass the fountain again. I pass it again. And again. At first I think it must be on. Vampires can't cross running water. However, I've gone by the fountain before and had no problems. Plus, trying to pass running water doesn't shoot me back. It's more like running into a wall. This is a lot different. What? I snarl. He shot you back a few seconds, Bryant. Hold on, I'm calling back up. Do that, I shout, trying to run after the brat again, only to be teleported backwards. I growl. What was it that gives sorcerers magic again? Mutated mitochondria in the red blood cells. Blood cells, you say? How convenient. All this running is making me build up quite an appetite. I'm going to guzzle this little murderer like a juice pouch when I get him. Now even the warper's stopped. He's doubled over, cackling and pointing to send me back over and over again. I stop and pant. I feel like I'm burning. I don't know if that's from the rage or exhaustion. This little twerp is going to rue the day that he set foot in my shopping mall. I draw my gun. He'll be too busy sending the bullet back, so I'll be able to apprehend him while he's distracted. If that doesn't work, and I kill him, well, no loss. I shoot. The bullet vanishes in a pop. The warper looks startled for a second, and I run at him. Then, I'm shot in the back. He looped the bullet, the bloody bullet. I was shot in the back, point blank range by my own gun. I fall to the ground trying to clutch at the wounds. I can't even reach the thing. I feel the bullet rattling around in what I think is my lung. Ew. The Kevlar slowed it enough so it didn't come back out, but being shot so close is still pretty unhealthy. Blood runs down my back, staining my uniform. Bryant, you're hurt. I'm calling backup. I'm not hurt. The bullet wasn't silver. I'm just disgusted. The warper looks at me with a satisfied grin on his face. Well, he says, didn't think I could kill people like that. I stand up and slowly growl. You wish you killed me, you little devil. His face blanches in terror. He shrieks like a girl and runs again. I can't chase him. I'm too exhausted. Mission failed. He got away. I need to lie down and think. Don't worry, bud. They'll intercept him at the door. I called paramedics for you. Just don't panic. I shoot the nearest camera a thumbs up and promptly faint. Russian accent. I can't do a Russian accent. I'm not as accent talented as Ian. Vampires can get tired. I mean, he was shot in the lung. I think that allows you to get tired. You know, I wouldn't want to be shot in the lung, that's for sure. That would be poopy. These are fun. So far, these are really fun. They're just imaginative and silly. And that's the sort of, the best kind of thing, isn't it? Okay, the Mist Man. I'm in the locker room strapping on layers of Kevlar and silverweave armor. You never know what sort of magical or non-magical nonsense you have to face when guarding a haunted mole. Best to have protection for both. A soft, "Excuse me," whispers past my ear. I jump and spin, fists clenched, ready to punch a hole through some sorry poltergeist's kisser. My gloves have silver fibers woven through the knuckles, so if I did throw a punch, it would actually hurt the spook instead of going right through it. Right through. It's pretty cool. "Oh, sorry," the voice says. "I didn't mean to go. I'm so sorry." My surroundings grow humid for a second, then the moistness condenses into a cloud. It takes the shape of a man, water vapor becoming silver hair and eyes. He's wearing a grey t-shirt and slacks, and his face looks vaguely familiar. "Customers aren't allowed in the locker rooms," I say. "Can I help you?" "Oh, yeah." His voice is quiet and hesitant. "I needed some sort of magic thing, just temporarily to make me solid. I have a date tonight, and I can't exactly hold her hand or anything else romantic if I'm just fog." Now I recognize him. He's the Mist Man, a lonely spectre who hangs around on the mole roof. He's only visible when the sun is rising. No one's ever spoken to him. He vanishes once people try to get close. At the same time, he's never caused any harm, so security leaves him alone. There are plenty of vendors that sell those sorts of things, sir. "Call me Arnold." "And I would, but my wallet keeps falling through my hand." "I see, and you chose me specifically to help you because..." "All the other security guys are humans. I get put off by humans, and I'm running out of time. She's coming in an hour." I check my watch. 3 minutes until I need to clock in. "Wait here. I think I have something." He nods, and I scoot to the closet of emergency gear and pull out what looks like a blue fire extinguisher. It's full of liquid nitrogen, used for stopping fire wraiths in their tracks before they can set the whole building alight. "What's that?" Arnold asks. "You're a water vapor, no?" "Yes." "Well, cold condenses water. I'll give you a little puff of this and you should be solid for a good few hours, provided you can keep all your particles together." He nods. "But I'm still condensing you, so you'll be short. I hope that's not a problem with your date. It's the quickest fix I can find." "Oh no, no problem at all." I shower him with nitrogen and he vanishes as the room fills with a frigid white mist. I cough. I'm glad no one else is in here. They'd either kill me for using the nitrogen in a non-emergency situation, or they'd freeze and die from the nitrogen cloud. I'll be fine. Lots of things can stop vampires, but freezing chemicals are not one of them. When it dissipates, I see Arnold standing on the roof of the locker room. His head barely reaches my knee. He's joyfully touching the walls and floors, laughing in delight at its newfound corporeality. "Arnold, are you sure your weight won't be a problem for you?" "Oh no," he squeaks in a voice that sounds like he's sucking helium. "She's an ice pixie, so I'm still taller. She won't even mind the cold, so I think this is even better." He holds up his hands. They're crystallized. "Good to know. Good to know. You have fun then, and don't tell anyone I used the nitrogen on you." "Thank you, sir," he chirps and runs face first into the locker room door. I don't think he's used to being solid yet. I open it for him. He gets stuck trying to squeeze through the crack and watch him dodge and weave between feet of the mole patrons. I go to start my shift, glad to be of help. He does have a date, Ruth, with a pixie. More holes in your lung means more air, better breathing. Science! That's exactly how that works. We like a good wholesome story. The food court door. I duck under the caution tape roping off the food court from the rest of the mall. Benjamin Cadris, our resident paranormal specialist, is waiting for me with some gear laid out on a table. He's fidgeting with a neon green helmet a little bigger than his knuckle, trying to switch the attached camera on. You wanted me, Benny? He gestures to a 5-inch tall wooden door embedded in the wall. This thing showed up a few days ago. Nobody knows why or what it is, so we're going to find out. I'm sending you in. What? Why me? You can fit, for one, as long as you're in bat mode. Let me get this straight. A mysterious magical door magically appears and your first instinct is, let's go inside. Uh-huh, he says absently, fiddling with the helmet strap. And your second instinct is to send in a bat. A bat with a camera? And a place far too small for one to fly. I don't like this. Why can't one of the air conditioner gnomes look into it? Don't they love tunnels? I feel like I'll die if I go in there. Oh, relax. It's not like there would be sunlight in there, or garlic, or wooden stakes. Silver, maybe, but that's unlikely. The gnomes don't want anything to do with this door. And neither do I hiss. I'll be alone. I'll be unarmed. I'll be blind. It's too small to fly through. I doubt I'll be able to echolocate. This feels like a death trap, says the walking corpse, Benny notes. Careful what you say or you'll be one too, Cadris. I'd keep tabs on your blood after this, I say darkly. Hardy ha, I know you wouldn't drink me, you big softy. I don't know, I'm feeling particularly disgruntled today. Sure, fine, you don't have to go in. We can call the police and get the door arrested or something. That sounds like an excellent idea, though I'm unsure of the logistics of arresting a door. Exactly. Who else is going to handle this but us? Plus, I won't give you your bribe. Bribe? A whole pint of A negative. Stopped at the blood bank this morning. It's fresh, he says in a sing-song tone. I perk up. Blood genuine, human blood is a rare treat nowadays. There aren't many morally acceptable ways of acquiring it. To top it off, A-neg is my favorite flavor. I'm listening. It's in the archive freezer. You explore whatever's behind the freaky magic door, and it's all yours. Deal. I phase shift into a bat shape. I fit comfortably in Ben's palm. He straps onto the helmet, making sure my delicate ears slide through the slits, ties a thin wire to my foot so he can pull me out of if things get hairy, and sets me in front of the little wooden door. He opens it, and I crawl in. Wing by wing, I pull myself forward, squeezing through the tight tunnel. I can't see a thing, but I feel dirt and stone below me, getting into my fur. I don't make a noise. Sound waves bouncing around in this enclosed space will mess me up. Benny's voice comes through a small speaker in my helmet. Tunnel splits about 6 inches ahead. Go left, little guy. I see footprints. Little guy? 4'11" Benjamin Cadris calling me little guy? That blood had better be tasty, or I'm taking some of his too. I go left and concentrate on the sounds coming down the tunnel toward me. Squeaking. It sounds like a lot of squeaking. I smell rodents. Okay, you're in a... It looks like a little banquet hall, and it's full of rats. And they're passing money to each other. I start when I hear a shrill squeak, a warning cry. Being fluent in squeaks, I can tell it translates to, "It's a cop!" Damien, one just pointed at you? This is bad. There's a thunderous pattering of footsteps as they all charge. I smell saliva and disease. My sensitive ears are filled with their furious shrieks. Oh, I don't like this at all. I pull my wings tight around me, covering my head, and squeak furiously into a microphone on the helmet. I go flying backward down the tunnel after feeling a pull at my leg that's strong enough to dislocate it. I slam into the wall as I round the corner, grateful for the helmet that keeps my brain from getting pulverized, and I'm reeled in faster than the rats can run. I hear Benny slam the door once I'm out. He takes off the helmet and wire, and I phase back, only mildly shaken. What was that? I shake my head, wondering how he expects me to know. I didn't see it. An illegal rat gambling ring? I try. We hear a pop and look towards the door. It's gone. You think we'll be believed? He asks. Nope. Your daughter likes my avatar? Thank you, daughter of Ruth. You have good taste. Vanilla. Vanilla is the best flavor, though. Let's be real. Can we get Damien fulfilling a Make-A-Wish? Molly, catching up on some things. Warper was fine. Like, I didn't have any issues with it. It was fairly creative as well, and reading it all made sense to me. Like, that could have been a really messy thing to read, you know? So I think you did perfectly fine with that. No complaints here. Lou's legal consultation. Prompt uses the line, "Welcome to hell." "Excuse me, young man, are you Damien?" A small old lady asks me. "I was told to find you." I nod. "How can I help, ma'am?" Well, I was just about to pop into my daughter's craft store for some things, and the shop changed. I decided not to go in. It looked dangerous." "Is your daughter human or entity?" "Human. It wasn't the normal weirdness you see here either. The doorway burst into flames, and the shop turned into... what did the sign say? Lou's legal consultation. It was very peculiar. I hope my daughter is okay." I tilt my head. "I'm familiar with this phenomenon, ma'am. Thank you for your telling me. Where did you say your daughter's shop was?" She points, and I spy it instantly. Hard not to notice the blood-red lighting and the fiery wallpaper. "I'll handle this. You should stay here." "I lost my place. No." Here we go. I make my way over, stopping briefly at a florist to ask for a spray bottle of water. One mention of Lou showing up and she's eager to lend it to me. She knows what Lou is short for. I kind of wish the bottle was full of holy water, but this will have to do. I enter the legal consultant's office and the iron door slams shut, barring me in. A man in a swivel chair lets out a menacing chuckle and spins slowly to meet me. "Another day, another sucker. Greetings, customer. Welcome to... Hello, vampire." He deflates mid-sentence, grin shrinking as he notices my pale face and pointed teeth. I smile at the disappointment in his voice. He can't get my soul because I don't have one. He learned that last time. I'm here to waste his time and pester him until an exorcist gets here, or he goes away on his own. If he's dealing with me, he can't trick any humans into signing his contracts. "Back again, Lucifer?" I ask. Shocking. I don't remember you having a permit or the owner's permission to set up shop here. "I don't see what's wrong with my business. I'm an honest American just trying to make a living with the talents I was gifted with. I help relieve people of their burdens." "You swindle souls from people. Some find the soul to be quite burdensome." I don't want to play this game, so I squirt him in the face with the spray bottle. He wipes it, spitting mad. "You jerk! You can't even let me get one soul for my troubles?" "Nyet." I soak him again. "Oh, come on. I've had so much legal trouble lately. I don't need this. First it's jumping through a million hoops just to get the blasted business permit. Then I have to deal with some federal health inspector who's judgier than the big guy himself, who says, oh, you can't have a fiery pit leading to the belly of the underworld unless there's a railing. It can't be more than 4 feet deep. And he's writing me fines, and I'm just having an all-around bad time trying to be an entrepreneur. Now I have to deal with you? Ugh. I'm sending you the bill for this dry cleaning, by the way. I smell like plant fertilizer. I click the button on my radio. "Hey, Dave, call a priest. We'll need the entire West Wing exorcised. Maybe also get a pacifier for Lou. He's having a bad day." The devil starts to protest, and I silence him with more squirts to the face. Low blow, Damien, he shouts. For being centuries old, you are so immature. Dave's voice crackles through. Priest on his way. I've got the Vatican on the line now. They say we can press charges this time. Really? Nice. I look back to see steam rising from Lou's tailored suit. Oh no. Angry, Lou? I think you need to cool down. I squirt again. He roars in fury, completely unable to do anything. It's hysterical. You are so bad for business. You noticed. Good for you. Have a cookie. I hand him one of the individually wrapped cookies he has in a bowl on his desk, normally used to lure little children into his trap. See you in court, Fertilizer Face. He clenches his fist and his hands shake. He's imagining himself throttling me. I squirt again. He yelps and covers his eyes. Then the entire consultation office fades, and I'm standing next to a display of decorative paper. He's gone, I report. That was fun. Well, back to work. This sounds like an interaction between you and your cat. Yeah, exactly what Ruth said before. Like, Warper could have been so confusing, and it wasn't. So, like, there's nothing to complain about there. I feel like rewatching the Helsing OVA. Yeah. Damien, for a man without a soul, he has a soul, right? You know what I'm saying? Wally, he would be, I'm assuming for this, he would be on fire, you know? Like, he's the devil, so he's all, like, hot and steamy, so the water just goes, psss, and, like, sizzles on him. You know? Alright, this is an unused story for the Welcome to Hell prompt that Molly ditched because it was too long. Evening, recruits. Welcome to Hell. Field test, Benny quips. I'm Damien Bryant. I'll be your tormentor today. Trainer. You're ruining my fun. You're ruining the training exercise. I let out a quick chuckle. Touché. Benny clears his throat and taps his clipboard with a pen. Anyway, you all know why you're here. Vampire attacks are getting all more common because Damien's family is getting bolder and hungrier. You've been trained on common vampire characteristics, capture techniques. Nods from the 6 recruits. Give me the 6 S's of vampire weaknesses. Stakes, sunlight, silver streams, sacramentals, and a sativin. Good. Forget the scientific name, just say garlic. It's easier, I butt in. You've been trained on bagging a vampire in either form. Nods. You think you're proficient. Nods. I'll see to that, I say with a devious hand rub. I'll be equipped with a radio, so I can call back and inform Ben on your progress. Other than that, I'll be unarmed. Your objective is to bring me in before I can get you. It's 6 versus 1. This should be exciting. Some of the creeps nod and murmur to each other. I continue. Since this country has laws against human rights violations, I say, making quotation marks with my fingers, I can't actually drain you of blood. So if I touch 2 fingers to the side of your neck for more than 2 seconds, you're out. That's how long it takes for the sedative in our venom to kick in. Benny holds out his arm. Damien, if we could give them an example of the species of bat they're looking for? I oblige, going into bat mode and flying up to perch on his sleeve. I spread my wings so the recruits can get an estimate on my size. As you can see, Damien is a subspecies of a flying fox. Notice the long snout for eating fruit. Since flying foxes are fruit bats, he's still a bit small for one, though not much bigger than a microbat. The ones around here are all brown bats. It's not uncommon that any vampire you'll be pursuing will be of a species not native to where you're located. In this instance, we don't want you harming the wildlife, so familiarize yourself with the prey's characteristics. And you can pet him, he's nice. Feel a few hesitant thumbs stroke my head and belly while they get to know how I look as a bat. I memorize their smells. I wish I could chuckle menacingly in my bat form. Who's really the prey here? Alright, good. Good. While Damien gets to work on his 5-minute head start, I'll give you a quick run-through on your basic anti-vampire gear, okay? Off you go. He shakes his arm a bit and I drop from his sleeve and flap until I'm high in the air. I stay that way for a bit, letting the recruits believe I'm going for distance before I echolocate a patch of clear trees and drop down. I loop back so I'm fairly close to the mole, then settle myself in a sturdy oak and wait. I morph back so I can get visuals and watch the ground for hunters. They've been instructed to remain in teams of 2. If I try to get one of them, the other can nail me before I tag their partner out. But if I can separate them... I let the group pass, allowing them to believe they're the ones tailing me. A few minutes later, I drop to the ground and silently track one of the teams. I'm part of the darkness, silent as the shadows themselves. It comes somewhat natural to vampires. The first pair is up ahead. Both are wielding net launchers, aiming them at the trees. They're recruits 3 and 4. I can see by the numbers painted on their helmets. I creep forward, then spring and cover. 3's mouth, yanking him back and pressing 2 fingers from my hands on the side of his neck. He drops his gun in surprise. Stupid that. Shouldn't have abandoned his weapon. But he doesn't know to make enough noise to alert 4. She turns and I pull 3 behind a tree just as she launches the net. It wraps around the trunk and 3's 2 seconds are up. I'll let him go. You're dead. 3, report back. Okay, thanks. I give him a little salute and change to bat mode just as his partner tries to sneak up on me. I flap furiously and my wings bring me upwards, crashing through the leaves and twigs. I phase back once I'm confident I'm far enough away and radio Ben. Recruit 3 is tagged out. He and his partner weren't watching their backs. Okay, give 4 little time before you try anything. I want to see if she tries to hunt you alone or if she joins another team. Roger, I say, and watch. 4 is a smart girl. She's running. I fly from treetop to treetop, switching from bat to vampire again to watch her progress. She's getting close to another group. I wonder if... I land between 4 and the group and jump out from behind a tree when she nears. She skids and turns to run the other way. So she didn't know where she was going. The smart thing to do would have been to stand her ground or charge me, even to make enough noise to alert backup so they can nab me while I'm occupied trying to catch her. She unhooks something from her belt and throws it at me. It explodes a yard from my feet, and I'm forced to stop as millions of strobe lights overwhelm my night vision, and I'm left blind. Dang, didn't expect her to drop a glam rock grenade on me, but here we are. Those are the best kind of grenades. He's over here. Hurry. I take a second to wipe glitter out of my eyes and squint against the stripes. Been there, dude. Been there. Before going bat and flying upwards. For once, the blindness that comes from transforming into a bat is a relief. However, now that I'm hearing supersonically, I can pick up the song Ben programmed into the bomb. It's irritating, but not as much as the glitter was. I hear a faint pock over the music just before a web of thick fibers is flung around me. Unable to move my wings, I fall. Whoever deployed the net cannon just now is a heck of a shot. I'll have to congratulate him or her once I tag them out. I squeak in pain when I thump to the grounds. I wait listening for the tramping of boots. They'll find me all tussled up and neatly incapacitated in bat form, so they'll be coming at me with pillowcase and silver clips instead of handcuffs. Since they're a foot away, I change back, snapping the net strings as I change from the size of a water bottle to a full-grown man. I roar in rage because that's part of what makes it fun, and grab the nearest recruit to press my fingers into its neck. 1, 2, recruit 2 is dead, even as 4 yanks my other arm and try to pull me away. I reach over and tag her out. Ow! I cry. A tree branch is cracked over my head. Recruit 1 swings again, and I catch it before he can smack me a second time and yank it away. 1 pulls something from his belt. I'm expecting some nasty sensory-related bomb, and I'm ready to stick so I can bat it away, but he takes out handcuffs. I laugh softly. This kid has more guts than a black market organ dealer if he was thinking of trying to neutralize a hostile vampire with those. I give him a small nod. Come on, then. Let's see your hand-to-hand. He runs at me while I'm still holding the stick, which is stupid. I whack him in the knees. He stumbles. I stalk up to him and kick the handcuffs away, then bend down to tag him out and let out an irk as he kicks me in the neck. I cough several times, and 1 springs to his feet, fists flying. He nails me a few times before I can react. Once in the jaw, a couple of times in the gut. Then I get to my senses and catch the next fist he throws. He tries to twist away, but I twist first, and he grunts his arm as his arm is forced behind his back. He tries to buck me off, but he's growing tired and losing energy. I tag him out and dismiss him, but not before giving him more than well-earned fist bump for his efforts. More than half the group is out, I tell Ben. They didn't put silver on their net beforehand. Wasn't prepared for a rapid bat-to-vampire change, either. But whoever shot the net that got me deserves serious kudos. Tell 4 that she was good on seeking help and deploying the glamrock grenade, but to never, ever try and wrestle a vampire away from someone without a weapon. Same goes for 1. Have him get used to ranged weapons in general, but tell him he did put up a heck of a fight. Noted. I switch it off and start looking for the last 2 recruits. 5 and 6. I smell garlic after walking for a few minutes. They probably have the aerosol garlic spray cans. They're drawing boundaries, roping me in. Very good. I follow the garlic and it leads me to a small creek, one I can't cross because it's running water. Recruit 5 is perched in a tree on the other side and has the net launcher trained on me in case I change to bat mode. Good job on utilizing the running water, I say. I hope Ben gives you extra points for weaponizing your surroundings, laying a trap that's the right way to nail a vampire. He grins. Now if only I knew where 6 was, she most likely wouldn't split up. I'm attacked by glitter and flashing lights for the second time tonight. I sprint away from the creek, but the garlic bomb drives me right back against it. These 2 are clever. 6 drops from a second tree holding 2 branches that he whittled down into points. Wooden stakes. Wooden stakes that can actually hurt me because I'm not wearing any protective armor. Yikes. He throws one and I immediately make myself a smaller target. As soon as I go bat, 5 nails me with the net launcher. I try to change it back, but I can't. There's some sort of silver on or in the fibers negating my powers. 6 runs up and I hear the clicking of handcuffs as he closes one around my neck. Just to be extra sure I'm neutralized, I squeak and beat my wings in mock panic. Then writhe and try to snap at their fingers and hands. They get me into the pillowcase without allowing me to bite either of them, then tie it shut and take me back. Good for them. I'm glad at least 2 recruits stand a chance if they have to go against one of my kind. As for the others, well, the academy lent them out to us for the whole week of rigorous training. They'll have time to improve. I'll make sure they do. Glittery vampire. Yep, I picked up on that. One of my friend group chats, me and another person swapped identities in that group chat. I'm Barbara, maybe, and someone else is Gabriel Abacus. It confused everyone. Molly Reg, well, there's one story where Ben figures out how to get him across water. You'll find out how. Okay. Thighs are underappreciated, my cultured opinion. Alright. Moving on. This one's called Sylvester, and the prompt was to take something normal and make it monstrous. That's what we call taking off my pants. Seeing as I'm pretty difficult fellow to kill, and the only non-human security guard in the mall, it's not uncommon that I find myself serving the position of meat shield for a variety of issues. Someone with a gun robbing a tech store. Send in Damien. Damien's a vampire. Damien can take a few bullets. No problem. Gas leak. Have Damien find it and patch it up. Fire. The only burn Damien can get is sunburn. However, looking at the several 100-foot abomination shambling slowly and destructively towards my place of work, and by extension me and a large number of my friends, I start to doubt just how much punishment I can take. So, this is Sylvester, I say. Yep. Ben's shoulders are hunched in a display of guilt. Tonight's a full moon, which means werebeast galore. Ben forgot to feed Sylvester, so the thing he's calling Sylvester is on the hunt for its daddy. It's scooping up dirt and trees as it trolls along the ground, heading in a slow beeline towards the mole. I watch a lot of forest disappear into its loading bay mouths. They snap open and closed and grind hungrily. Sylvester is a sentient building, a warehouse to be precise. A warehouse. I stare flatly at the 10 cement legs hoisting the mass of brick and metal slightly above the ground. It leaves a cleared rut behind it. If that thing reaches the mall, oh boy, that would be bad. Sylvester lets out a roar that sounds like the grinding of tectonic plates. Don't worry, he's tame, Ben says, avoiding my eyes. Tame, right, and garlic is my favorite food. What do you feed this thing? Cardboard boxes, usually. They're his favorite, but we'd need a lot of them to fill him up. He already seems to be gorging himself. I don't think feeding him more will solve our problem. I take a breath and release it through my nose. Seeing as you're a paranormal specialist, I'd expect you to know that owning any werebeast heavier than 100 pounds is illegal. They get too dangerous when they're big. He's a building, not a beast, and I don't own him. I don't know who has the deed, but it's not me. He was abandoned. What was I supposed to do? Get him demolished like all other buildings before he goes on a hungry rampage? Can you send him away or something? I don't doubt you've taught him any tricks. I trained him to sit, and that's about it. You might have to put him down if that's what it takes. How do you expect me to kill a building? Same way you kill any werebeast. Silver bullets. Make sure you get his vital organs so it's quick. Don't let Sylvester suffer. I'm sorry, Ben. Vital organs? In a building? Yeah, the furnace, the boiler circuit breaker, those kind of things. Uh-huh. I stare at the warehouse, approaching closer, luckily being so big, it's very slow. I'll have to go inside to dispatch it. Hooray! I climb onto the wall around the mall roof and survey the grounds. Sylvester is far enough away that I have a decent chunk of time before he reaches the mole. I think I can make it. You owe me for this, I say, and step off the roof, phasing into bat form in mid-air. I clear the distance in a dozen flaps and dart in through one of the mouths. I fly up to a hanging light fixture and phase back, clinging to it. I draw my gun. It's full of silver bullets. When I get an opening, I leap to the floor. Time to find some building organs. That's the end of that story. Molly, can I ask what is the difference between like a body of water, like not being able to cross a body of water, but why like a spray bottle or a water gun wouldn't be a pain? Like, what's the difference in a body of water and like other water? Hope you guys are enjoying this. So far, all of these have been very creative and enjoyable. Okay. Let's move on. Bonus story. That's all I know. It's a bonus, fam. Is this the rift you came from, sir? I ask. The scientist with the weird glasses and the blue smeared gloves peers through the hole in the air. He shakes his head. Nope, I was in my lab when I got sucked in here. Lab, lab, lab. Where did I see a lab? Oh, look, there's one. I point to a dog trotting across a tiled floor. It has a severed arm in its mouth. The arm is green and has 4 fingers and is dripping blue liquid, identical to the stuff on the scientist's gloves. Blood? Hey, that's mine, the scientist says. The dog? No, the arm, you fool. That's part of my research. I'm immediately concerned. First of all, there's this random dog. I have no idea where it's from, which portal it's supposed to return to, or how in the world it found its scientist's arm. Second, this scientist I'm trying to help might be a psychopath megalomaniac. He breaks out of my grip and runs after the dog. I chase after him. We've got enough stray dimensional beings wandering around here. We absolutely do not need some serial killer mad scientist lurking in the mall, ripping off the arms of passerbys and doing... Do I want to know what he's doing with the arms? Probably not. I spring into the air and phase into a bat to catch up with him. I change back in midair and land on him, forcing him to his stomach. My research! I handcuff the guy. Sir, are there vampires in your dimension? He's mumbling about research and aliens and stupid magic portals. I clear my throat and repeat myself. Surely you've heard of us. Of course I have. Ah, so you know what will happen if I bite you. I'll drain you of blood and leave you as a dead, dry husk of a human. Now, I'm not very hungry, and I don't want to, but I have a job to do, and you are making it exceedingly difficult. I feel that if I get irritated enough, I just might. Now, sir, it is important that I get you back to the portal you came from before some dangerous quantum thing happens and we all die. It would make me very happy if you would cooperate. Oh, fine. I stand him up and radio in to ask where a portal leading to a laboratory was spotted. There's one on the stairs leading to the 2nd floor. I walk the scientist over and free his hands before shoving him through and tossing some silver beads in after him to seal the portal close. I radio in to report the arm-wielding dog. We'll have to track him down and get him back to whatever rip he jumped through to prevent the world from exploding, or whatever cataclysm quantum event is supposed to go down if these dimensional beings stay here too long. I jump in surprise as if the air rents itself open to me. I stare through the rip at a fiery hellscape, then flinch again as a screaming man flings himself towards me. He's bloodied and being chewed on by demons. Why can't any of these portals lead to a dimension of fluffy bunnies? No, no bunnies for us. We're stuck with demons and mad psychopath scientists, and poorly trained cadaver dogs that only fetch severed arms. This is not OSHA compliant. None of this is safe, he yells. Let me go. Help me. He's crawling forward, looking like some withered, dying monster. I draw my weapon. Shoot me, yes, please. It would be a mercy. I almost do. Instead, I nudge him back into the rift with my foot and seal it, feeling a twinge of guilt as the demons have their way with him and his tormented screams are cut off. Now, time to find that dog. Fire! Someone shouts. Fire by the kids' clothing store! I got it, I yell back. I launch myself into the air. Crud, crud, crud. We evacuated the mall already, but if there's a fire, security personnel may have to leave too. Then we won't be able to seal up the rest of the rips. I fly up to the clothing store and gape at the huge rift that's spitting fire and bugs. Huge bugs and huge flames. No fluffy bunnies in sight. I see the surrounding air melting into the fire as it burns. I toss some silver through and the fire snuffs out as reality closes in on it. The bugs aren't stopped as easily. I jump as a centipede as long as my arm skitters towards me. I shoot it more than once. You can't be too safe. There are still other nasties, beetles the size of dessert plates, ticks the size of apples, fleas that could be confused for really ugly guinea pigs. I step on one of those. Then the bugs are good and dead. I release a shaky breath, then change to a bat and fly to the 1st floor back where I spotted the dog. Since I'm unable to see while I'm flying and the portals don't show up when I echolocate, I don't realize I've flown into one until the noise hits me. Yelling, stomping, breaking glass, it's all hammers into my sensitive bat ears until I get it into my mind to change back. I look around a bit stunned, ears still ringing. I'm in an old-looking banquet hall like one that would be found in a medieval castle. All around me are vampires, ones I recognize. My family! They're all shouting at someone on the table, so they don't notice me in the chaos. I look at who they're trying to mob. He's running across the table, stepping in food and dodging the goblets thrown at him, all while trying to beat away the bats swirling around his face with a food platter. He's in a panic. He's me. We locked eyes for a second, and my eyes bulge in recognition. He looks up towards the spot on the ceiling, springs off the table, and morphs in midair. More of my family phases into bats and swarm after him, screeching angrily. I watch, jaw hanging. Someone grabs my arm and yanks me down to the floor. I struggle, not eager to find out what's in store for me after seeing how angry one was at the other me. Grandfather, someone whispers to me in Russian. Grandfather, stop, it's me, Yuri. I stop and look. I think I remember hearing about a grandson, but I've never met him. I don't know who this boy is. What's going on? Grandfather, now is not the time. I suppose I have no choice but to trust him. Yuri, tell me what's happening. Why are they chasing me? Where are we? Castle Beloff, he says, giving me a confusing look. Where the family reunions take place. We have a castle? Grandfather, listen. There's a hole in the ceiling. You can fit through it if you fly. They're being kept in the dungeons, though. Now they might be in transit. What are you talking about? Who? I notice Yuri is blinking a lot and rubbing his eyes. I tip his face towards me and stare at them. His pupils are little pinpricks that can't be natural. What's wrong with your eyes? Have you been drugged? He groans uncomfortably and scratches his arm. The pills. The pills that make the stinging go away. What? What pills? What's going on and who's doing this to you? He stands up shakily, and I get up to help him. Yuri, how long have you been taking these pills? He shakes his head and gestures to the wall. The rift is there. I see the mole through it. Go back before they see you. You're here. And Yuri drifts off, blinking slowly. Then he shakes his head and gives me a gentle push. Go. If I recall correctly, Yuri is almost half a century old, but he's still a child by vampire standards. Heck, just looking at him, you'd think he was about 14. I don't want to leave him here when someone's drugging him, or with whatever else is going on here. My family mobbing me, someone being kept in the dungeons, my own grandson taking mysterious pills. It's my job to protect people. I'm a security guard. I can't leave him here. Not if he needs help. Yuri, you're in danger, and I want to help you. You will, but you have to go now. He shoves me back, and I stagger towards the rip. The silver beads in the pouch of my belt trigger it, and it closes before my eyes as I pass through. Then I fall. I forgot I was in the air when I passed through the portal. I splash into a fountain and catch the attention of Stacy, another guard. She helps me to my feet as I crawl, coughing and trembling, out of the water. Can I help you back to your portal, sir? I look at her. What, Stace? It's me. Code word? We set up one of those in case any doppelgangers got spit into the mole. Sterling, I say. Worry floods her face. Damien, you look so pale. Paler than normal, I mean. What happened? I'm not sure what happened. Not sure what I saw either. It could have been a ghost. It could have been a parallel timeline where I'm hunting down by my family and my grandson is drugged. It could be my future. It could be anything. I don't know. I can't know. I look around at the rips springing into existence all around the mole. We have more pressing issue right now. I'll figure out what I saw if I can once the dimensional rifts are handled. I'll tell you later. Let's get this taken care of. And that is the end of part 1 of the Vampire Cop short story Extravaganza. That was the foreshadowing? That's fair. I feel like that one was probably the most confusing one. I had the most difficulty trying to read it. So, there's that. There is more. There's a lot more. Alright. The next one, this is part 2 of 6 parts. And we just read part 1. Person of interest. Prompt. The main character is not human and has never been human. Powerless. That's how I feel. Powerless and vulnerable. And sick with the memories of what happened last time I was cuffed to a chair in an interrogation room. This time the cuffs are silver, and there are crucifixes on each wall. They keep me from changing into a bat and escaping. They also make me feel dreadfully nauseous. Curse these vampire weaknesses. 2 officers come in, man and woman. They sit down opposite me, and the woman offers me a styrofoam cup of water. I take it gratefully in my one uncuffed hand and drink. Nervous? She asks. I nod. The last time I was in an interrogation room, things didn't go well. Not that I was guilty or anything, just Soviet Russia has different ideas on how to get information out of people. That's all. I'm sure this will be different. I offer a weak laugh. She smiles and pats my hand. It'll be okay, Mr. Bryant. We're just going to ask you a few questions. You're not even a suspect, just a person of interest. You'll go right home once we're finished up here. I nod, relief flooding me. Questions, just questions. I can answer questions, ask away. The man opens up the folder. 2 a.m, Wednesday night. Where were you? I hardly have to think. Working. At the mall. Ask any of my co-workers or check the cameras. This can be verified. When was the last time you had human blood? 2, 3 months ago. I didn't get it from a human, though. It was in a bag. The officer takes out a picture and slides it across the table. It's of an old man with glasses and thinning hair. This is Ernest Parker. His body was found not 5 minutes from your mole, completely drained of blood and with 2 puncture marks in his neck. Does he look familiar? I shake my head. That sounds like the work of one of my kind, but as far as I'm aware, I'm the only vampire on this entire continent, and I did not do this. You transform anyone else in the time you were here, Mr. Bryant? Never. I would be condemning them to death. Don't vampires live forever? They can, as long as they're smart, but bitten vampires don't have the innate fear of sunlight the rest of us do, and tend to go charging into it blindly, forgetting that it'll boil their blood and they will explode. It can't be any bitten vampire that takes years for the fangs to grow in, and your perp has fangs. I realize what I said is potentially incriminating. After all, I have fangs. I add a hasty, but it still wasn't me. The officer lets out an unconvinced grumble. I'll submit to a polygraph test if you think it'll help. The polygraph isn't some magical lie detector. It relies on things like sweat production, breathing rate, and heartbeat to see if what you're saying lines up with how you're acting. Seeing as you already look scared enough to vomit and you don't have a heartbeat, a polygraph won't do any good. Can you take my DNA, compare the saliva to what was found on the corpse, or a measure of my bite mark? Here, I drink the rest of the water and bite the styrofoam. Take this, you can compare it to Ernest's bite. The woman takes it and smiles and thanks. I still worry it might not be enough. Were there fingerprints? What? Fingerprints on the body. Were there any? Some. Then it wasn't me, I say. I show them my hand where fingerprints should be as smooth pads. Vampires born as such have no fingerprints. Only those who have been changed from humans keep them. The officer stares at my hand. Huh. Weird. If the perp has fangs and fingerprints, then we know he's been bitten. It can't be Bryant, the woman says quietly. So we have another vampire to track down, the man says. Well, that narrows it down a little bit. Still, how do we know that Bryant isn't involved with him or her? Sir, I protect humans for a living. I'm not going to turn on a dime and start eating them or start working with someone who is eating them. Aren't most vampires related, though? How do we know you wouldn't turn against a human in favor for your family? That's true. We are related, but they all live in Europe, mostly prevalent in Russia, a country which I fled. The officer doesn't seem satisfied. When was the last time you saw any of your family? About a century ago, when I was asked to attend the... I trail off, realization forming like a big dark thundercloud. Attend the what? What year is it? I ask, dread filling my gut. 2025. Why? I slam my face into the table and groan. The centennial, of course. It's the centennial. What's the centennial? Family reunion, I grumble. I haven't been to the last 3, but no one but nobody seems to get the hint that I don't like attending them. They still manage to track me down every 100 years and ask if I want to go. Ugh, that must be what happened. Someone came to invite me, completely forgetting the fact that last time I did come was before this country of yours was even founded. Then, I guess they got hungry and ate Ernest. There are some in my family who have been bitten and learned to avoid the sun, so their fangs can grow in. If vampires marry those who are already vampires, inbreeding would be out of control. Many choose a human spouse and transform them. That's what I did, though whether the humans last very long as vampires is always a gamble. It must be someone related to me by marriage come to invite me in person to the reunion. Why not just mail an invite? Why cross a whole continent? We're vampires. Invitations are important to us. We need them to enter anywhere. We wouldn't trust a random human with a million other things to deliver with something so important. Invitations to the Centennial are delivered in person by another vampire. It's always been like that. The officers exchanged looks. Have you spoken to whoever's delivering them? The woman asks. Not yet, but I don't doubt they'll root me out soon. As soon as they find me, I will report them. Rest assured, a word of warning though, when dealing with my family, you must be very careful. We all find humans very appetizing. You are a staple part of our diets, your blood being necessary to keep us alive and strong. If you're ever to encounter them, be warned that they don't have nearly as much self-control as I do. We can handle a vampire, Mr. Bryant, thank you. But a savage one hellbent on slaying you, either for your blood or to escape? I don't want anyone getting harmed, that's all. I never asked for my family to follow me to America, even if it's just to give me an invitation. I can't help but feel responsible for this entire affair. I'm surprised when the female officer bends down to undo the cuffs and releases me from the chair. I stand up promptly to escape the silver and rub my wrists. Grateful to feel my strength returning, gradual though it is. What is it? I ask. We're done? We're done. You've helped us plenty, though we will contact you if we have any more questions, and we would appreciate if you contacted us if or when this relative of yours drops by for a visit. Of course, you know where to find me. Thank you, Mr. Bryant. You've been a big help. I'm escorted out of the police station. And that's the end of that one. Minea probably knows. He basically knows everything. Okay, let's find out what I know. I was also very engaged on Bizarre Damien. The Portal Damien Blind Part 7 is probably going to come out this month. Oh, we know Putin. God, anyone remember that emo vampire book that was in every American middle school library? Emo vampire book in every American middle school library. I'm not American. Emo vampire book. What year are we talking? Was this like early thousands? Was this 90s, 80s? Was this newer? In 2010s. Okay. All right. So I was well and truly out of high school by then. But if I had to guess, I mean, part of me just wants to say Twilight because that's the obvious choice. But they had like not faces on the cover. No VDM would not be in the library. That's for sure. My only guess is Journal of a Vampire. It's the only one I can think that it could have been. Um, and I remember, if I'm not mistaken, they made um, a really cringy movie about it too. I've never heard of eighth grade bites, but like I said, I was well and truly out of high school at that time. Okay, this one is called Fountain of Youth. I didn't notice the ground rumbling. I was asleep. However, I do notice when I'm shaken loose from my perch and swallowed by the jagged opening in the floor. I can't really be bothered to care, too tired for that. It's hard landing on harder stone that jolts me into awareness with a pained squeak. Ow! I change out of my bat form and blearily look around to get my bearings. I'm somewhere mysterious and magical looking. I hate places like this. Large stone archways line the walls of this underground temple place. Sunlight filters through the middle, illuminating a large tree growing there. Water falls in a sparkling ring surrounding it. The tree looks like a nice place to perch, but other than that, I find the whole location unimpressive. I glare at it for a second. I'm in the shadows, so I'm safe from the sun, but places like this seldom come without some kind of hidden danger, magical danger, the worst kind. A soft hand comes to rest on my shoulder. Greetings, weary traveler, a layered female voice says. I come to offer you a gift unlike any other. I'm off duty, I murmur, rubbing my head. Leave me alone, sleeping. My name is Guardiana, guardian of the Fountain of Youth. Your name is stupid and your fountain is nothing more than a leaky ceiling. Go away. She's quiet for a second, then. Annoyance? I offer you something this great and you react with annoyance? People have died trying to find this place. This is the Fountain of Youth. Immortality has fallen into your lap and you are annoyed by this opportunity? Incredibly. She slaps me right in the face. I stand up and squint at her ethereal form. She looks to be a ghost. Pity. Ghosts don't have blood. So much for that midday snack I was craving. You are the first man in centuries I've allowed to reach this place. Look, she gestures around her. You drink this water, you can become immortal. Good for you. I don't care and I don't want it. I'm going back to sleep. What lazy buffoon is still sleeping at 3 in the afternoon? I yawn. That's nocturnal buffoon. I'm not interested. But I found you and you're alone, worthy for this. I know, 12 people worthier than me who would actually want this. Go find one of them. But it's only for the pure of heart to find. Pure of heart. Ma'am, I am going to say this as gently and as pure of heartly as I can. You're an idiot with a memory a goldfish would envy. Guardiana let out a mortified grasp. How dare you? If I'm the purest of heart you can manage, either humanity has undergone serious moral decline or you have not looked very hard. I'm going to go with the latter. Do you even know what I am? You're the one I've chosen to give immortality, though now I'm doubting my assessment. I'm already immortal, and I'm not pure of heart. I'm a bloodthirsty predator who has killed thousands of people over centuries. You've clearly picked the wrong guy. I'm slapped in the face again. This guardian of the fountain is really getting on my nerves. I glare at her. Fine. If you so rudely want to refuse my generous gift, then I'll return you to that sorry closet you came from, she says without a sneer. I'd like nothing more. And I'll watch you wither and die as you go on without magic water to sustain you. Yes, you have fun with that. Now let me out of here. She snaps her fingers and the ceiling opens up. I launch myself into the air and fly out. Guardiana shouts some obscenities after me, and I consider dropping some guano on her head to let her know how I feel about that. However, I feel like I've already made it clear enough that I'm not pure of heart. I don't want to overdo it. The ground closes up and I fly out up to the ferret hammock that's hooked to the ceiling. It's perfectly bat-sized and a lot cozier than perching on a branch. I nestle in with a yawn and fall back asleep. Take it easy, Wally Ram. Have fun. What are y'all drinking tonight? What's everyone's tea for the night? The Surveiller. Come on, Damien. You're a vampire, I tell myself. You shouldn't be unnerved by dark, cold, crypt-like spaces. This is your wheelhouse. You should feel right at home here. I grip my flashlight tight as I make my way through the numerous identical hallways in the mall basement. I can see just fine in the dark. I don't even need a light. I just like carrying something with heft in it. No wonder they call this place the Catacombs. It's like a maze down here. The mall owner says it wasn't even built this way, that it changes on a whim. It entraps its victims and dashes their hopes with a fruitless search where the only exit is death. I'm already dead, and I'm not out. I wonder if I should be jealous. On the plus side, since I'm dead, its magic doesn't work on me. Thankfully, I can't get lost down here unless I try. This place is still unsettling, though. Ben says that the only reason the catacombs are so creepy is something about subsonic sound waves. You can't hear them, but your body picks up on them, and you feel like you're being watched by an otherworldly presence. I know I'm being watched. Everyone in the mall is, and that's who I'm trying to find. The Surveiller. I glance at my map. I'm close. Closer than I'd like. The next room I come across is filled with televisions. They're stacked floor to ceiling, all of them on. All of them show video feeds directly piggybacked from security cameras around the property. A withered old man sits in front of them. He has his hand on one of the screens. His eyes are open. They're milky white. I approach warily and touch his shoulder. Sir, can you hear me? He's unresponsive, but his pulse is strong. So I'm not worried. Yet, I look at the television he's touching. The screen shows the mall entrance, where a steady flow of people are coming in. One of them seems to be harassing the other patrons, shaking them and yelling into their faces. I know what the woman is saying. It's what they all said. It's what prompted my boss to send me down here. Find the Surveiller. He's in the catacombs. Find him. Help him. Don't let yourself fall victim to his same fate. He's in the catacombs. We had no clue how he was doing it. My guess now is that these TVs give him the ability to remotely possess someone. Creepy. I pull his hand away from the screen and he snaps out of his trance with a tortured scream. Sir, are you the Surveiller? The Surveiller. Lost. The tunnels, endless. Screens are the only escape. I figure he is. Even if he isn't, it would still be good to get him out of here. Can you stand? I touch his shoulder and he retreats. No, I've been here so long that they now send the dead to claim me. Leave, you creature of darkness. I refuse to be taken. I sigh, then pick him up and sling him over my shoulder. He's incredibly light. He tries to wiggle free, and when that doesn't work, he kicks and punches at me, shouting, No, I refuse to be taken. Can you hear me? I refuse. I can stand that. It's better than him running and needing to track him down. I dig through my pocket and take out a disruptor ray. I should mess with the catacombs' power enough so we can find an exit without trouble. With him on my shoulders, the catacombs might lead me off track, if only to keep him down here. I'd like to avoid that. I activate it and start walking. The Surveiller seems to have tired himself out quickly. Sir, how long have you been down here? He's muttering numbers. 16, 17, 18. No, it would be 17. Or was it 16? No, it wasn't 16. 18. It was 18. 2018. How did you survive down here that long? No, not that. 1830. I'm about to say more, but I see the stairs that lead to the exit. I quicken my pace. The sooner we're out... The sooner we're out of the catacombs, the better. I barge through the door and breathe in that sweet, not catacombs air. I slam the door behind us and release a sigh. I suddenly don't feel the surveiller's weight on my shoulder. I look at him. The years are catching up to him now that the catacombs have relinquished their power. The last thing I see of him is his papery skin stretched tight against his skull, eyes wide with the knowledge that he's dying as soon as he achieves freedom, then the skin tearing and the bones crumbling to dust around me. I'll have a hard time sleeping today. I'm surrounded by cats and don't want to move. Television Man. This flashlight is becoming quite a good friend of mine. It's a better weapon than a firearm in a place with much small confines. You are correct. I appreciate that. Flashlights are some of the best self-defense weapons you can have. I'm not a fan of this mission. I'm not a fan of being sent into the catacombs again to retrieve all of those televisions the surveiller used to remotely possess people. It's been weeks since I found him. The original plan was to simply let them rot down there, but my boss says they're too valuable. Can't let that machinery like that go to waste. So here I am, making my way through the creepy underground tunnels again, dragging a line of squeaky shopping carts behind me so I can keep this as one trip. After half an hour of navigating, I'm glad to find them. That means my job is half done and I'll never need to come down here again. I stare at the rows of old dead televisions stacked against the wall. A chill runs down my spine when I realize that there are more of them than last time. At first there were 16 or 17. Now they cover 3 walls. Oh no, I won't be able to fit all these in the carts. Here's what I think at first. A ball of dread forms in my core at the thought of a second trip. Then I realize something that makes me shudder in horror. More televisions, that means something has been happening down here. Maybe they're reproducing, cloning themselves in order to replicate. Perhaps someone's still down here bringing more TVs in. Undoubtedly for some nefarious purpose. I'm suddenly on high alert. I strain my eyes and ears now that I'm actively listening for it. I can hear faint breathing. I have no idea where it's coming from though. I start when one of the TV screens flips to static. I stare at it. The particles move together, slowly spelling out the words. Look behind you. I'm not the cleverest guy out there, but I'm not a horror movie main character levels of stupid either. First I bash the TV screen in, then I whirl swinging my flashlight at any potential attackers. I miss, probably because there aren't any. Nobody's behind me. A click sounds from somewhere in the room and 2 sharp metal prongs are shot at me. They burrow through my clothes and I'm flooded with volts as the taser activates. Being already dead is a great self-defense against lethal weapons. However, when something is meant to incapacitate without killing, I react like anyone else would. My knees buckle and I fall to the ground as electricity surges through my muscles, forcing them to stop responding to me. I try to get up, but can't. I watch, dazed, as a man with a television for a head emerges from behind a stack of things. He's reloading the taser gun. He chuckles and I get really nervous. A security guard, he says, bemused. His voice is garbled and electronic. You made a horrible mistake coming down to my catacombs. I turn my head to glare at him, but my vision is fuzzy. Blasted taser. I have to blink the blurriness away. I need time. Time to plan. Time for the volts to wear off. You can stop rubbing it in. I know it was a mistake. He chuckles and turns me over with his foot. I wince as he shoves me up against the wall of TVs. He bends down and roots through my pockets and belt, confiscating all my tools, even my beloved flashlight. I try to punch him. The screen on his head is big enough a target, but my blows are slow and clumsy. My arms feel like wet towels, heavy and hard to control. He steps back and tasers me again. I grip my teeth. Muscles convulse when the pain stops. I look back at him. Utterly befuddled thanks to the electricity still messing with me. It's a shame that I was discovered so soon. A shame for you, that is. I hadn't planned to emerge for years yet. My dear Wormy is not yet ready. He's perfectly functional, but I wanted him to be a bit longer before his unveiling. I must not have heard him right. The side effect of being tased is confusion. Wormy? I ask. His electric laugh makes me shiver. You heard right, he says. Years of planning have led to this. While you are not the object of my revenge, an innocent passerby will be excellent practice for my child. Kill him. I hear the scraping of plastic. The televisions behind me all shift in unison. That can't be good. I paw at the floor, trying to get a grip so I can get to my knees, then feet, but my muscles are still on strike. I can't even squirm away as a stack of monitors all unfold into a giant string of TVs, slithering and scraping along the concrete floor. The front one, the head, I guess, has antenna and DVD trays that resemble mandibles on the screen. Two huge red eyes. It roars. I try to scramble away, but I'm pinned to the concrete floor as televisions slam onto me. This worm thing is strong. I can't even shove it off, and I'm built fairly solid. I will crush you, security guard, and after I crush you, I'll emerge from these catacombs and crush the stuck-up gatekeepers at that ridiculous institution you call a paranormal research academy. The very same ones that crushed my dreams. So this is what this is about. Some academy reject with a big head. A literal big head. One which happens to be made from a television. I thrash under the TV worm, but it does no good. Wormy coils around me, piling on the pressure and keeping me from escaping. I feel my organs being squeezed like stress balls. I slowly give up trying to get out from under him, partly because I have an idea. The end is near for you. Has your death so far been agonizing? I'd like those monsters at the academy to suffer slowly. Are you? Yes, I'd say I'm suffering, but the whole agonizing death bit? Meh. I shrug. What do you mean, meh? It just wasn't agonizing. Not your fault. It happened long before we met. Happened before I was born, actually. It was probably agonizing for my mother, since hospitals didn't exist back then. And painkillers? Forget it. But it most certainly was not agonizing for me. Or maybe it was. I can't say I remember. A graphic of an hourglass appears on his screen. It turns over a few times before he goes, What? I was born dead, and have been dead ever since. You trying to crush me will do nothing. I've heard of the catacombs driving people to insanity, but this is different, he mutters. Fine, I'll end you quickly. He taps on the side of his screen, and Wormy responds to his command, squeezing me tighter. The televisions shake as the creature strains to smother me. I look down at them, then back at TV head. I shrug again. It doesn't seem to be working. Sorry. How? How is it not working? You have thousands of pounds of pressure being applied to you on all sides. Perhaps because I'm already dead? Shut up. You're not dead. Frankly, I don't know how else you would classify a vampire. I'm not alive. I have no heartbeat, my blood lies stagnant in my veins, I haven't taken a single breath this entire conversation. Partly because your worm is making it very difficult. I'm really cold, I don't feel cold, but I know I am. Maybe I'm a reptile. No, reptiles have heartbeats. I can't be a reptile. Do fish have heartbeats? I've never thought about it. I think they do. Oh, then I'm not a fish. That's good to know. I never wanted to be a fish. I've eaten enough caviar that suddenly becoming a fish would have terrible moral implications. I'm sure it would lead to many sleepless days and psychiatrist trips down that line. Or perhaps it wouldn't, since I've never met a fish that's needed therapy. Perhaps I'm the first, or I would be the first if I wasn't a fish. If I was a fish, but alas, I'm not. And I'm not a plant either, or sunlight would kill me. I simply must be dead, and there's no other way around it. Impossible. The catacombs must be driving you mad. Then why haven't I been crushed to death by your TV worm? How should I know? But you're not dead. I'm quite certain of that. I shrug again. Feel for a pulse. He makes an aggravated noise and reluctantly stalks over before placing 2 fingers under my jawbone. I jerk my head forward and clamp my teeth into his wrist. Oh, the fool. He fell for my act of obliviousness. Now he's quite literally in my clutches, and I won't let him go that easily. An exclamation point appears on his screen as he tries to yank his arm away. I wouldn't do that, sir. I mumble around his wrist. I seem to have an appetite this evening. If you insist on struggling, I will be inclined to sate it. He falls still, much to my surprise. I didn't think I would be eloquent enough to be threatening with his arm in my mouth. You're that That vampire, the vampire they hired. I've heard of you. I grin and continue. You, sir, are in an unfortunate predicament. I see that. Yes, yes. If you would like to let you go, I would call off your TV worm before I feel the need to close my jaw. Bite me then, sure, make me a vampire, make me immortal. That would do nothing but make it easier to enact my revenge. Immortal until you walk into the sunlight, and if I were to drink enough, you would die of blood loss. No vampirifying involved. So let me go, and you get to keep your blood. Hey, look, it's Usagi. Welcome. He taps out a pattern on his head, and I feel the beast coil loosen. I nod in thanks and release him, then morph into a bat and launch myself away. I echolocate to my pile of contraband and morph back so I can grab my trusty flashlight. A grin creeps up my face, and I charge the television man. He draws the taser, preparing to shoot me again, but I slam the heavy flashlight into his arm, eliciting a surprised cry from behind his screen. I swing at his head, and he dodges with a quick step back. Get him, Wormy! No mercy! The plastic scrapes across the cement behind me. Wormy charges. I jump. Somehow, I land on him, but I'm shaky, and as bulky and cumbersome as old TVs are, they are really hard to balance on when moving dozens of miles an hour. I slam the light into the side of one of them before I'm forced to tuck and roll. I skip backward, dancing away as Wormy whines and lunges at me. My attack was futile. He's unhindered. I need another tactic. I can't beat these two with a flashlight. Well, I could beat them plenty, in the sense one could beat a piñata with the dry erase marker. It's doable, but I won't really get the job done. As for defeating me with the flashlight, the obscene's slim. If I could snatch that nerd's taser, I might be able to use it to overload Wormy's circuits. Or I steal a glance at the ceiling before I'm forced to duck away from Wormy snapping DVD tray drawers. How very fortuitous that the sprinkler system reaches down to the catacombs. I smash my light in Wormy's face when he lunges, then I drop it and fly up to the pipes that lace the ceiling. I clamp my teeth around the release valve and jerk my head to get it open. No good, not strong enough. I'm forced to launch myself away when Wormy's face smashes into the ceiling next to me. The crunch is deafening to my sensitive bat ears. Good heavens, I didn't expect that thing to be able to jump. I wrap my wings around the slim pipe and quickly phase back. My weight yanks it out of the fasteners that hold it in the ceiling. I reach over and twist the valve, turning it full strength. Then Wormy comes at me again. I shower him with water. The beast seizes up briefly. Static shoots across Wormy's various screens, then he collapses with a shudder. I pick up my flashlight and stalk over to the television man. I can't see his facial expression, but he looks scared. He flinches when I near him. I wouldn't run if I were you. Chasing suspects tends to make me hungry, and I don't think you want a hungry vampire chasing you when I doubt you'll be missed down here. He whimpers, and I whack the side of his TV. He yelps and clutches it and then shoves it off his head and takes deep panic breaths. The shopping carts. Get in. In a shopping cart? I show my teeth a little, indeed, and stay there unless you feel safer with my fangs keeping you in check. He scurries over and climbs in. I tie his wrists together with an old antenna, retrieving my gear and load it up as many TVs as I can. I wheel them and my prisoner out of the catacombs, hopeful that I will never have to return again. It's all good. Better late than never. How's everyone going with this? Are we enjoying the stories? Are we having fun? Which story so far has been your favorite? These are important questions. Molly, I don't know if you're like... I don't know if that's allowed. I think you're breaking some kind of fundamental rule there. How was work, by the way? You haven't reached my favorite yet? Is it in part 2? There we go. See, Molly? Told you the warp one was fine. I like the more Brothers Grimm style ones. The ones that are more, traditional creatures and less complicated. Alright. We might get to part 3 tonight. I can't remember when these normally end, but I think we've got about an hour to go. Hour and a half, something like that. Next is the Wolf Sitter. Human children, I am told, are rambunctious and destructive, and generally act like animals. Werewolf children are like that times 10, and that's not even counting the one night a month where they literally are animals. Suffice it to say, not everyone can look at a werewolf pup, not even most werewolves. After a werewolf pup, not even most werewolves. Larry is the exception. Larry is not only a werewolf, but an ex-convict who has taken it upon himself to keep as many youths, human and entity, out of trouble as possible. He teaches several programs at the local juvenile detention center, all focusing on discipline and strict self-improvement. If anyone can handle rambunctious, it's him. He's proved it too. He's adopted 8 werewolf pups and loves them all to death. He often comes to the mall to ensure the puppies are properly socialized, since there aren't many other places as accepting of werewolves as we are. He sometimes volunteers them for their powerful noses when we need olfactory data on some magical anomaly or other, to teach them the value of hard work and using their talents to help others. It's never boring when Larry and his pack come around. It's daytime. A weekday. Pretty quiet, and I'm covering another guard's shift when I really should be sleeping and staying away from any stray rays of sun. Still, I'm avoiding windows and I'm wearing a whole tube of sunscreen. I should be fine. My ears prick when sharp yapping suddenly fills the air. I look towards the main doors. Larry the Wolfman strides through the foyer with his pack of 8 straining and struggling at their leashes. One of them, the littlest, is wearing a cone and walking with a limp. It's no less energetic than the others, practically strangling itself with its collar. All of them run from side to side, frantic to take in the new smells and jump on shoppers. Larry looks somewhat like a human maypole, with the wolves tangling their leash around his legs. He looks like a very angry maypole. The glower he's wearing is enough to keep any patrons from crossing his path. I see them drift away from him. Even as pups, the strain to get pets. Larry whistles as the pups stop trying so hard to meet new people. Half of them trot obediently next to his heels. The other 4 pace the length of their leashes, sniffing the floor. One snatches a hot dog sticking out of a trash can. Larry stalks forward. He's sniffing, searching. I watch, wondering what he's up to, and why he's so mad. Then his eyes lock on me. He whistles again to get the wolves moving, and strides purposely towards me. I'm slightly put off. I'm not mauled when they reach me, which I'm going to say is a good thing. I bend down to distribute ear scratches and receive affectionate licks from the pack. I keep an eye on Larry as I'm swarmed by bearers of rough tongues and wagging tails. Hello, Larry. Good to see you. I need to talk to you alone. I'm on duty. I can't, he growls. I need to talk to you alone. You know what? Okay. He nods and watches me as I radio in to get someone to cover me for a bit, then follows when I head to the break room and punch in the code to unlock the door. I wave him and the wolves in and shut it behind us. So, what's going on? I'm going out. I need a sitter. A sitter? But you take the pack everywhere, he scoffs. Of course I do. I need to teach them how not to act like hooligans. Not this time, though. I've got something I need to do. I raise an eyebrow. It must be serious. Darn right it's serious. Someone's taking pot shots at the pack. Need to take care of it. My jaw hangs. Shooting at them? Who would do that? Someone looking for trouble, Larry growls. He checks his watch. Got to change the bandages. 6 hours. He clicks his tongue and pats the couch. Come here, Layla. Up here. The pup with the cone whines and tries to scoot away. I know you don't like it when I mess with the stitches, but I've got to keep that wound clean. Come on. She reluctantly climbs onto the couch, tail between her legs. Larry shrugs off his backpack and takes out a first aid kit and a jar of peanut butter. He takes off Layla's cone and bandages and gently nudges her snout away when she tries to lick the spot on her flank. No licking, Pumpkin. I need to clean it. Layla whimpers. She took a bullet, I ask. Larry smears ointment on the stitches and nods. Silver one. Someone's out to kill my kids. Is she all right? The doctor's got it all out. She just needs to heal. It'll take a long time because it was silver, but she'll get back to normal once it does. Here, open this up. He hands me the jar of peanut butter. Give her some to calm her down. The ointment stings, makes her anxious. She's good. She's doing good, though. Aren't you, Pumpkin? She thumps her tail a few times on the couch and licks his face. Yeah, you're my brave girl. He strokes her ears and gives her a chin scratch. I take the spoon taped to the side of the jar and serve the pup a heaping scoop of peanut butter. She licks it up greedily. Larry nods his approval. Larry nods his approval but puts the supplies away. He feels around the pup's neck and fiddles with the clasp on her collar. All right, Layla, I need to borrow this for a bit. The collar slides off and the pup transforms before my eyes. Her snout is sucked back into her face. Her front legs shrink. Her fur and tail vanishes. I'm shocked at how young Layla is. She's got to be 5 or 6. What sick monster goes around trying to kill a first grader? She frowns once all the wolf is gone, but this week is wolf week. But you're hurt and I don't want you or your siblings messing with those stitches. Daddy can't wait for the full moon to be wolf for a bit, so I need the replicator collar. Wolf week, I ask. Gotta teach them manners for both environments. 1 day a month isn't enough to teach them pack manners, so I switch every week. They like being wolves better. Can't blame them. Layla, you're a human now. What do you say to Mr. Bryant for the peanut butter? Thank you for the peanut butter, Mr. Bryant. I smile sheepishly. My pleasure. So, can you watch them while I take care of this hunter? I wouldn't trust any old human to babysit. You won't grow fur if you accidentally get nipped. You're already a monster. I don't need to worry about you. I can pack sit, sure. How long do you think you'll be gone? A few hours at most. Instructions and supplies are in the bag. The rest of the pack is easy to handle. Just don't be afraid to be strict. Layla's the youngest. She's the best behaved. If you need help with the others, or if you have any questions, go to her. Sounds good. Larry's glower returns as he leaves the break room. I radio in to tell my co-workers that I'll be gone a bit longer than anticipated. Werewolf business. The pack, meanwhile, makes themselves comfortable around the room. When Larry returns, I can tell he's hiding something. You can shower and put on as much cologne as you please, but you can't mask the smell of blood from a vampire. How were they? He asks when he talks. I smell a tidal wave of peppermint mouthwash, and beneath that, more blood. They were good. Keith got the door open and ran. He stole some hamburgers from a family of goblins and jumped in a fountain, but Othello helped me get him back. Othello, upon hearing his name, sits up a bit straighter and puffs out his chest. His ears prick up. Larry nods at him. Good job, Othello. Keith, I'll be having a word with you when we get home. Keith barks and goes back to gnawing on the table leg I tied him to. I wanted to make extra sure he didn't escape from the break room. And Layla? Larry asks. Fantastic. No trouble at all. Same with the others. He nods and goes to return Layla's moonlight replicator collar. Her tail wags in a blur once she transforms into a wolf again. How did dealing with the hunter go? I ask. Larry's face darkens. He won't be bothering us anymore. You reported him to the police, right? He won't be bothering us, is all he says. And then he smiles again. Let's go, kids. Who's up for some digging? Excited barks fill the room. Larry puts on his backpack and picks up all 8 leashes. I see some of the wolves eagerly sniffing Larry's hands as they head out. Perhaps they smell the blood too. I don't know what happened to the hunter, but I'm quite certain that what Larry says is true. His pups are safe. That was a cute one. I like the werepups. Vampire experiments, or lack thereof. The prompt was to use the line, "Why do you need one?" I'm stretched out on a sofa in the break room when a knock at the door catches my attention. It's Ben, the paranormal specialist. I give him a questioning glance. Hey, would you happen to have a hollow pencil, would you? Why do you need one? He shuts the door behind him and sets his laptop on the counter. I'm trying to see how vague wooden stake is as a weakness for vampires, and I was hoping you could let me run some tests on certain objects that may or may not be classified as stakes. I see through his act easily. You want to stab me with a pencil. In essence, yes. No. What about something smaller, like a kebab stick? I had to wrestle a minotaur calf out of a ball pit. I'd been near kebabbed enough for one day. Can I stab you with a toothpick? Stab yourself with a toothpick. A paper drink umbrella? That's just a fancy toothpick, and no. He scowls. Can you at least bite a rat so I have some kind of vampire to experiment with? I'm not going to kill an innocent rodent for science. Also, mutilating dead animals is a sign of developing psychopathy. Just so you're aware. I'm not developing anything. Certainly not a thesis statement, thanks to you. Boo-hoo. You don't get to experimentally stab me. How sad. Tell you what. The whole thing with the stakes. They just affect vampires like any other stabbing. Like any other stabbing instrument would affect you. You can get stabbed with a knife in the arm and be relatively okay. I've been staked in the arm and I lived. I'm going to find a mannequin or something else and see if you can kill it with a pencil or toothpick, or whatever you can. I'd say one would probably work against one of my kind. Ben mulls over my words for a bit. Yeah, and even if it didn't, it would still weaken you. No, it would just make us incredibly mad. He doesn't seem to have heard me. He flings his laptop open and types furiously, eyes narrowed in concentration. He slams it shut, then rubs his hands together and chuckles evilly. The laugh is new, a tad concerning. He tucks the laptop under his arm and breezes out of the room with a "Thanks, Damien," thrown my way. I settle down and pick my book back up. I pity whatever mannequin Ben gets his claws and pencils and toothpicks into. I think one thing we can all appreciate from reading these is Molly's imagination. But let's not fuel it. This next story is called The Logo. The prompt was a photo of the Earth from space. I'm telling you, it's aliens, Ben shouts up at me. Usually, we'd be using an earpiece in situations like this, but the big shadow making thing has a kibosh on all wireless communications. It's interfering with the GPS radio waves, cell towers, and even some non wireless methods of discourse. Even electricity's been spotty since it arrived. It's also blocked out the sun, which is, kind of bad. Not for me, though. I can participate in the investigation without boiling to death. Hooray. It's not aliens, I shout back. What else could it be? Literally anything. That's why we're watching it, because we don't know. The removal of wireless communications has reduced us to crumbling trees and screeching at each other like a band of... to climbing trees and screeching at each other like a band of crazed monkeys. My throat is getting very sore, and I feel the slightest bit ridiculous. Actually, I feel a lot more than slightly ridiculous, since I'm perched in the top of a tree and dressed more or less like a disco ball. What I'm actually wearing is a full-body reflective thermal suit, made to protect me if this thing leaves and the sun suddenly comes back. I sure don't feel protected. I'm too out in the open. If this sunblocker is full of aliens, and they happen to be looking for Earthlings to abduct, I feel like I'd be their first pick. The only fashion statement I'm making is take me. I'm shiny and conspicuous. Bryant, how close is it? My partner, Dave, monkey number 3, yells at me from a nearby pine. He's wearing protective armor and has military-grade parachute on his back. I lift my binoculars and squint. Close enough, probably. I lower them and grip my tree as a gust of wind buffets me. Hey, do you hear orchestral music? Dave pauses and listens. You're right, it's making music. Diabolical, these Martians. I know, Ben's gotten to him. Dave shoots a grappling hook at the shadow thing. A second passes and we hear a metallic clunk. The hook falls to the ground a moment later. Well, calls Ben. It's solid, we say simultaneously. It's also playing a dramatic orchestral symphony, Dave says. It's aliens. This is their mothership. They're trying to hypnotize us with classical music. Shut up or I'm volunteering you for the alien probing. You believe. You admit it. Nyet, I admit nothing. I see a small figure dashing through the trees towards the paranormal specialist. I shout a warning. He turns and they talk for a minute. Laura says she knows what it is and that it comes in peace. Who's Laura? A cook at Leslie's Diner. She's a movie junkie and says that's the logo for Galactic Studios. They must be filming nearby. I've seen one movie made by Galactic in the time I was here. The logo was the word Galactic with big blocky letters hovering over Earth, all while a dramatical orchestral symphony blares through the speakers. The very same music being blasted at us right now that I'm thinking about it. I didn't know they actually filmed that. I thought that segment was rendered on computers. She says they filmed it. Why? I shout. Why do they feel the need to fly their logo around and disrupt communications and block out the sun? Who knows? I'm just disappointed that it's not aliens. But maybe it is, and they're trying to impersonate Galactic Studio. Hey! Laura wrenches Ben's megaphone away, a development I'm quite pleased by. That's not just the logo, it's the studio itself. They fly their studio around whenever they find an interesting set to film. But why? Hollywood executives are just weird like that, I guess. Next story is a bonus story. Yay! We got a bonus. We did good, and we've been awarded a bonus. Congratulations. The birthday gift. I punch out at 6 in the morning as usual, but my work today isn't done. The shipment comes at 9:30 every other week on the dot. I can't be late, but I've got time to kill before then. I trot back to the broom closet, which has been repurposed as my living quarters, and grab my knapsack from the shelf which stores my meager personal belongings. Inside is a thick book and a few wadded up dollar bills. I have enough to get a meal before I need to be at the shop. I get a fruit salad from one of the restaurants that opens early, finish it quickly, and head over to the far corner of the mall to wait. I pace for a bit, rock on my heels a bit more, and after 30 minutes of waiting, finally see who I'm looking for. A portly old woman with snow-white hair and cane waddles over to meet me. She smiles. If it isn't my favourite little helper, Damien, dearie. 2 weeks has never felt longer. How have you been, sweetie? I beam as she reaches up to pinch my cheek. Good, Edith. I'm doing well. And you? Oh, I'm glad I have someone else in the shop, that's all. It gets so very lonely back here. Hardly anyone comes in. I don't know how Muriel managed it. She unlocks the shop. We both head inside. How is Muriel, by the way? I ask. Recovering, I hope. Oh yes, she's doing well. Still in the wheelchair though, so no shopkeeping for her. I nod sympathetically. Muriel used to run this old bookshop, but she had a bad accident which left both of her legs mangled. She left the shop to Edith, a close friend of hers, to run while she's healed. But Edith has a bad back and joints, so she can't climb the ladders or lift anything too heavy. I take it upon myself to help her out when she gets deliveries of new old books. She's a nice lady, and I like browsing the shelf of antique tomes. I like the smell, the feel of their pages. I feel the strange connection to some of the old books, one I can't quite explain. Edith leads me to the back room, where turns on the coffee machine. We always chat over cookies and tea while waiting for the delivery. Well, Edith sits. I usually sweep on something. If I sat down this late in the day, I'd probably just fall asleep. I'd prefer to keep alert anyway. In the back are 3 cardboard boxes. That's funny. I thought I put away all the books from last time. What are these? Someone gave them to the shop. I had unloaded them earlier, but they go on the higher shelves. I'll take care of them. I stack the boxes and carry them out onto the floor. I start shelving. Edith comes out a minute later with teas and a tray of cookies. Here, dearie, for your helping. I thank her and grab a snickerdoodle. It's warm when I bite into it. Delicious. How was that Western I gave you last time? It was fantastic. I read it on my break and I was late to get back. That's how good it was. Sucked me right in. I loved it. I dig it out of my drawstring and hand it to her. Here. Keep it, dear. My treat. Oh no, I couldn't. I do this to be helpful, not to get free merchandise. She pats my arm on the back. She pats my arm and takes the book back. I finish putting the new books away and pick up a broom. We chat and sip tea while we wait for the delivery. We get to work the minute it arrives. Damien, are you sure you're alright with helping so late in the day? Don't you need to sleep? I'll be fine, I say, and start unpacking. If you need to sit down and take a break, you know you can always use the easy chairs. Thank you, Edith. I'll be okay. We work most of the morning. Edith sorts the box's contents, and I take the stacks she leaves for me and put them where they need to go. She hands me a battered paperback on one of my stops. Here, Damien. This one doesn't have a cover. I can't sell it. It's Russian. Would you like it? Let's see. I say. I flip to the first chapter and read a few sentences. It's instantly recognizable. I feel as if the air has been sucked out from the room for a second. Oh, it's The Odyssey. Something wrong? No, it just reminds me of a copy I had a long time ago when I was very young. I'll take it, thank you. I carefully slide it into my bag and keep it from falling apart. Thank you, Edith. I return to the cart boxes and pull one off the top. I yelp in shock when the corner of the box jabs me in the eye. Damien? I rub my eye. Ow, it's fine. I'm fine, Edith. Cripes, it just surprised me. Are you okay? Yeah, I just got poked in the eye. It wasn't too bad. The box just jumped out at me. I let out a laugh. Edith waddles over to me and gives me an ice pack. I have no clue where it came from, and I don't really need it, but I take it anyway, just so she doesn't feel bad. Here, dearie, sit down. She walks me to one of the chairs and gently pushes me into it. I hold the ice tray to my face and let Edith baby me for a little bit before insisting that I'm alright and I can still help out. You should go home and rest, dearie, she says, offering cookies that are somehow still warm. No, I can stay and help. Shh, dear, you need sleep. The boxes can wait. You keep that ice on that eye and rest. I nod slowly, and Edith ushers me out of the store. The next morning, after my shift, I return to Muriel's bookshop. I wait outside for Edith since I'm so much earlier than her. I toss the melty ice pack from one hand to the other as I wait. Damien, sweetie, Edith says. I start, a bit surprised that I didn't see or hear her coming. Good morning, Edith. Your eye looks much better now. Yes, the ice helped. Thank you for letting me borrow it. I return the ice pack and she takes it with a nod. She lets us in and I pick up where I left off with the cart. I settle into a flow, unpacking and shelving, then slicing the packing tape and collapsing the boxes. Unpack, shelve, slice, collapse. After the first box or two, I start to do it almost automatically. You're so fast, dearie. I wish you could help me out more often. Maybe I should hire you full time. I laugh gently. I like what I do now. Besides, if I left security, I'm sure the mall would soon be overrun with crazy things. That's true, that's true. Here, let me get the tea and cookies. Wait here. I continue unloading while she scuttles away to the back. I take a short break after she presses me on it, then get right back to work. One box gives me a nasty paper cut that strings like vinegar in a wound. It's not too big though. I shake it off and keep going. Edith gives me a look but says nothing. After I finish the whole cart, I grab a few cookies on my way to wheel it into the back. Edith tidies up the counter. As I pass through the doors of the back room, my eye itches. The same one which got poked the previous day. I rub it a few times and the phantom feeling fades. Inside the back room is a tall stack of cardboard boxes, one which I swear I broke down yesterday. Weird. Maybe I didn't collapse them. No big deal. I'll do it once I put the card away. I wheel it past the pile and the stack falls on me. The boxes are all empty, so I'm not hurt. Just surprised. I pick up the boxes and reduce the heap into a neat little pile of flattened boxes. My work is done. I head out back. I grab another cookie for the trip. As I say goodbye to Edith, I see her talking to a small cardboard box on the store counter. She's stroking it like a cat. Not yet, she says to it. Now isn't the time. Wait. How weird. I must be really tired today. I wave goodbye and head back to my closet for a well-earned snooze. 2 weeks later, I'm back at Muriel's. Edith is there early to let me in. You're never here this early, Edith. Special occasion or something? Perhaps, dear. Come in. Come in. Tea and cookies are already done. Peanut butter biscuits this time. I hope you like them. Sounds delicious, I say. I follow her in. Edith locks the shop doors behind us. The scent of peanut butter permeates the air. The smell is divine. Edith insists I sit while she brings out the refreshments. I let her persuade me, and I make myself comfortable in one of the easy chairs. The new book shouldn't come for a while anyway. I can spend some time to sit and chat with a friend. How do you like the tea, dearie? It's a new recipe. It's good. What is it? Peppermint and mango flowers, along with a few other things. Mango flowers? Do you like them? They're great. I love mangoes. They'd have to be my favorite food next to blood. Is that so? Edith's spoon clinks against her mug as she stirs her tea. Oh yes, since my bat form is a fruit bat, I have a particular affinity for fruits, mangoes especially, I feel like. If I could ever experience the sunlight like you humans do, it would feel like how mango tastes. That's delightfully poetic, Damien. Thank you, I say, but I can't help thinking what I just said doesn't make any sense. How would something feel like the taste of something completely different? I'm talking nonsense. I yawn and swirl my tea. I feel so tired. My mind has to slog through every thought just to work it out correctly. Edith, is the tea decaffeinated? Usually it wakes me up, but I feel like I just drank sleeping pills. She gives me a funny look. No, dearie, I don't put anything like that in any of them. My brews are all natural. Huh. Maybe I'm just tired. Yes, maybe. Say, could you be a dear and grab the inventory book I keep in the back room? I'm glad for an excuse to get up and move around. Once out of Edith's line of vision, I stretch and bounce on my heels a bit, forcing myself to wake up. After that, I head to the back. I freeze once I put my hand on the door. The hair on the back of my neck stands up. I heard something in there, a shifting, a scraping, something along those lines. I'm not alone back here. Something else is in the back room. Maybe it's a guy delivering the book shipment. I push through the door and look around, but there's nothing. I can see nothing, I can smell nothing, nothing I can hear. That's the weird part. If there was a person back here, I'd be able to hear their heart beating or their breathing, but there's nothing. Nothing except a huge pile of cardboard boxes. I definitely collapsed to those. There weren't even that many boxes the other day. Where did all these come from? And where's this inventory book? Edith's never used an inventory book before. I've never ever even seen anything resembling one. I'll clean up this big pile, then search for the book. The pile growls and then turns towards me when I touch one of the boxes. I balk and back away. Boxes shift. The pile stands up on two thick legs and grows arms the width of tea trunks. It roars. Edith! I shout, a warning, and jump backwards when the pile lunges at me, swinging a big boxy arm to grab at my head. I run to the door and slam it in the monster's face, cutting off its papery bellow. I throw my weight against the door as it charges after me, beating its huge fists against the door and walls. Edith, I would strongly advise not opening today, at least until I get this. I nearly lose hold of the door when the monster rams into it. I grit my teeth and try to anchor myself. Taken care of. Get security. I can't neutralize this thing on my own. Edith comes waddling towards the door that leads to the back. I swallow the ball of terror that forms in my throat. What is she doing back here? This cardboard monster will eat her alive if it gets the chance. Why isn't she getting help? I can't keep her safe and handle the monster at the same time. Is she crazy? What is it, dearie? What is it? What is it? This thing is making such a ruckus. I don't know how she doesn't know what it is. There's a monster back there, I say, trying to remain calm. Call security. I don't have my gear on me. That cardboard fellow? Oh, don't worry. That's Dusty. He's perfectly all right. He's my golem. She waves me away from the door and pushes it open. I'm ready to pick her up and throw her to keep her away from the monster, but it seems I don't have to. Dusty falls as soon as he sees her and lets Edith reach out and scratch his chin. Dusty releases a rumbling purr. My knees almost buckle when I'm swamped with relief. Oh, a golem. That makes me feel a lot better. Phew. I laugh nervously. If I'd known you were a witch and not a regular human, I wouldn't have been so worried. I thought I told you. Oh well, glad that's resolved. You can pet Dusty if you want. He's very nice. Yes. I reach out and gingerly stroke the golem's nose. He immediately chomps down on my arm. I gasp and try to pull free. Edith pats my arm reassuringly. Don't struggle, Damien, dear. It won't help. He's not going to let you go. Ah, right. Golems only obey commands from their creators. Could you tell him to let me go? No. Thank you. Wait, what? The cardboard golem grabs the back of my shirt and hoists me off the ground. He frees my arm. A lot of good that will do now. I struggle and writhe in the monster's grip. No good. I change to a bat. Perhaps if I'm smaller, Dusty will have a harder time holding me. Nope. Wrong. Now he's got me by the scruff, and that's worse. I morph back and try to pull the collar of my sweater out from beneath the golem's big cardboard fingers. Edith looks on with amusement as I struggle. Come on, Dusty. The counter's mostly cleaned off. Bring the vampire. Dusty grunts and hauls me back to the main room. I stop struggling and try to keep some of my dignity, though I'm still panting heavily. I'm shocked to see the front counter completely cleared and covered with nothing but a plastic tablecloth. Security! I holler. Secure! I choke off as a fistful of cookies is stuffed past my fangs. My shouts devolve into coughing up peanut buttery crumbs. Hush, dearie. They can't hear you. I sealed the shop. The whole thing is enchanted. Nothing can get out. Not a sound, and not you. Oh, hey, Cliff. How are you doing, Cliff? Everything sounds better in Australian. Maybe. What is this about, Edith? I asked, trying to keep the tremor out of my voice and the cookies out of my throat. My eyes bulge as she pulls a hacksaw out from behind the counter. What's going on? She lays it on a tablecloth. My son's birthday is coming up. He just adores taxidermy. He has a whole wall of taxidermy heads, and just recently he's gotten into the paranormal. I thought he'd love a nice vampire head for his collection. So that's why you're here. You're going to decapitate me and taxidermy my head, Edith. I thought we were friends. It was an act from the beginning, Damien. I just wanted you for your head. Inside, I'm panicking. I swallow and try to stomp it down, then focus especially hard on regaining my composure. I steeple my fingers. Edith, in my humble, albeit professional opinion, my severed head would be a horrible birthday present. Oh, don't be silly. Look how nice your plaque is. I had it professionally lacquered. She takes out a wad of bubble wrap from a bag and undoes the protective layers. She holds up the shield-shaped piece of wood. It gleams like polished crystal. Well, howdy there, Cliff. It does look nice, I must admit. Is that mahogany? I ask. Ah, someone who shares my good taste. Indeed, it is. Such a pretty piece, isn't it? Doesn't it just make you want to have your head nailed to it? I look at her, then at the plaque, then back at her. Absolutely not. There's not much that could. She laughs. She just laughs at me. No, really, I insist. This won't work out for either of us. Vampires don't leave behind corpses. You won't have a head to nail on a plaque. No matter how nice the plaque is, when we die, we dissolve into dust. So you won't get your head, and I'll have died for nothing. How about you put away the saw, Edith, and we can work something else out? What if we made a wax replica, yeah? So the plaque would at least have something on it. Oh, but you will leave a corpse behind. That mango tea you liked so much. I spiked it. With what? With what? A little brew that will keep you from turning into dust. My stomach twists with horror at the realization that I've been poisoned, and I let it happen. I was the one who thought Edith was a harmless old lady. I was the one who drank that tea because I trusted her. I wasn't coerced into it in any way. But decapitating a vampire doesn't kill one. You want my head to be on a wall while I'm alive and aware of what's happening to me? Edith scoffs. I'm not some psychopath. Of course I'll kill you first. I brought a steak for the occasion. I can't tell if that's a relief or not. I settled on giving Edith my most mortified stare. Don't be a baby, Damien. It won't hurt. Whether it hurts or not, you're killing me. She laughs again. The nerve of this woman. I hate that I'm off duty. If I was still on the clock, I'd have my gear, my radio, my magic neutralizing weapons, and all sorts of things that would do me a lot of good here. I start to fight again when Edith brings out her stake and mallet. No good. I can't reach the golem and try to pry his fingers off. I change back to a bat and screech and flap my batty little heart out. Dusty raises his other hand to smother my struggles. I'm crushed between cardboard fists, locked in a corrugated cage. I squirm and try to shove my way out from between his fingers. Oh, stop, Damien. This is getting old. I do stop. I stop and pant, trying to think. The smell of preservatives and chemicals makes it hard. Maybe. Yes. Maybe I can fight Dusty, but I have to escape the golem's hand first. I change back, painstakingly prying the golem's hand apart with my feet and shoulders. I leap out of his grasp. Edith draws a quick breath. Get him, Dusty! I spry away, dashing into a different aisle for cover. Dusty growls. His heavy footsteps make the floor vibrate as he lumbers towards me. I take my chance, throwing my shoulder against the shelf and pushing with all my might. I've helped out in the shop long enough to know that the shelves aren't bolted down. The shelf falls, slowing Dusty down and sending books falling around him. He roars. I sprint to the door, then crash into the metal bars blocking the doorway. They're locked. I rattle them and shout, trying my hardest to make a ruckus. That will attract the attention of my colleagues. Nothing. Not a peep. I glance behind me. Dusty's getting up. Time to try another tactic. Movement on the ceiling catches my eye. One of the tiles is being blown up and down by the air conditioner. That should work. I hook my fingers over the bars and haul myself up. Edith comes waddling out from behind the counter, angrily wielding her stake. Get down here, Damien! I hiss at her and climb into the ceiling, changing to a bat so I can fit and move around up there. I feel safer, shrouded in the darkness. I stop feeling safe when light filters into my hiding space. I hear the swish of a butterfly net as Edith tries to recapture me. Get back here! I will do no such thing. I make myself small. I'm quiet as she pokes her head up through the hole. Dusty must be holding her up. She shines her flashlight around inside the ceiling. I remain perfectly still, hiding in the insulation. Edith shakes something. Damien, I have more cookies for you if you come out. Does she think I'm stupid? I'm not some house pet to be lured out of hiding by the sound of treats. Besides, I know that whatever food she gives me is dangerous or enchanted with something. She told me as such. She growls. Tricky little thing, aren't you? Let me go. Let me get my wands. Bring me down, Dusty. Oh boy, I have to do something. I can't just sit up here forever. She'll get me eventually. I burrow a little deeper into the insulation and fluff and rack my brain. I feel utterly stupid the moment it comes to me. How was I ever scared of those two? I'm up against a pile of cardboard and a senior citizen. I could probably push Edith over, but she'd be out of commission. As for Dusty, of all things to make a golem out of, you can't get much more fragile than cardboard. I crawl toward the hole Edith left open and look down. My bat vision shrinks, but I can just make out a big blurry brown shape. Dusty, my target. I dive. I land on the golem's head as a bat, and I quickly change back and plunge my teeth into his head. I don't try to drink anything, not that there would be anything, or try to vampirize a golem. I just rip and tear, burrowing into his skull like a crazed hamster the size and shape of a human. Dusty roars and grabs at me, but I merely change my point of attack to whatever limb he tries to attack me with. I shred his thumb, then tear strips of brown paper from his shoulder. I use both hands and teeth to rip him apart like a madman. He comes apart easily enough, and I briskly shred him. I spit a piece of cardboard to the floor and turn on Edith. She backs away, her gaze filled with fear. She points in a slim-pointed stick at me with a trembling hand. I wrench it out of her fingers and snap it. The walls of the bookshop shimmer. I'm not a magic user myself, but one thing I know is if you break a magic user's wand, every spell they casted with is undone. I'll be able to leave the shop now. Whatever Edith put in that mango tea won't have any effect on me. Edith grabs a wooden stake and holds it protectively in front of her. I'll be taking that, I say. Next year, I'd say get your son something far less unethical. A gift card, perhaps. Give him my best wishes when you call him from prison. Hamsters aren't vicious. Now, ferrets, on the other hand, ferrets are vicious. That was a longer one. I wasn't expecting that one to be so long. And that one is the end of part 2. So we have part 3 now. And there are a total of 6 parts so far. Okay. Yep, he is the main character, and there are more parts. Alright. Part 3. How are we going for time, by the way? How's everyone feeling? We awake? We sleepy? Because it's mid-morning for me. Jeez, I know you're okay, Sagi. You don't sleep. Alright. Part 3 is a long one, so I don't know if we'll get through all of it. But, because they normally end in about half an hour, don't they? So we'll get through like 1 or 2 more. And I might call it a night for you guys. Aww. So the next one is called Seagulls, and the prompt was just robots or cyborgs. I don't often target specific humans as food, but there are two who, if I ever met them, I would drain the blood on the spot regardless of circumstances. Those two people are whoever invented seagulls and whatever sadistic jerk released a flock over 100 of them in the mall as some sick prank. I thought normal seagulls were bad, but these beasts were harassing everyone and causing far more trouble than any normal bird could. They ripped phones right out of patrons' hands and swallowed the devices whole. Poor Agatha, the Technomancer's toy store, was raided and all her merchandise eaten. Even her cybernetic arm got a few bites taken out of it. She barely escaped the ordeal with her life. The birds will go after technology, even if it's inside someone. I had to take one down that was after a man's pacemaker. Then I had to take the guy to our makeshift medical center since a crazy animal nearly got to it. The sight wasn't pretty. The seagulls have been a hassle on security too, mainly since there's not enough of us. We've been forced to split into two groups, one to defend the people these birds are victimizing, and one to hunt down the rest of the flock. I was put with the hunters, not surprisingly. A room full of people bleeding from various metal beaks wounds is no place for a vampire. I'm running after another seagull. This one ripped out and ate the battery of an old woman's electric wheelchair. The robo-bird is grounded thanks to the heavy battery in its stomach, but it's still fast. My feet pound rhythmically on the floor. My teeth a grit in determination. The thrill of the hunt courses through me. My only focus is my prey. Even with a vampire's enhanced speed, I can't overcome this stupid thing. Its little engine is just chugging away, legs moving in a blur below its metal body. It has too much horsepower. I need to slow it down. I draw my gun, a small, light weapon made of blue plastic and filled with a special liquid that neutralizes the gulls. It's water. The special liquid is water. I'm attacking this monster, robot bird, with nothing more than a squirt gun. The gun's accuracy is horrible, so I just pump the trigger as fast as I can with the hope that some of the water will get to where it needs to be. And it does. The bird stalls. It squawks in surprise. There's my chance. I leap and tackle the seagull, landing hard on the ground with it. It thrashes and struggles, beating its wings in my face, but I'm not letting go. You're a very bad bird, I say. It responds by trying to eat my radio. Oh no, you don't! I pin it under my arm, keeping its wings immobilized, and with my other hand I hold its head still. I take the seagull to the bathroom, short-circuit it in a toilet, and head to the big bin where we've been tossing the disabled bird bots to keep track of them. How many is that? I ask the guard watching the bin. 36. Only 36? I wheeze. Yep. My job is nowhere near done. I see another seagull flying overhead, chasing a drone a volunteer is using to bait the birds out. With a resigned sigh, I morph into a bat and fly off in pursuit. That's the seagull. 11:15 is normal cutoff time. All right, cool. So, how long is this next one? I'll read this next one and we'll see how we go. The Man Unkillable. Magadan, Russia, 1985. 3 months, Belov. You've been here for 3 months. My narrow gaze follows the KGB officer as he paces in front of me in the cramped cell. What he says is true, I don't object. In 3 months, you haven't had a crumb of food or a drop of water, and in that time, you've been hanged. I grip my teeth as the agent standing behind my chair I'm tied to lifts his arm and brings his metal baton down on my head. My vision is hazy after the blow, but he doesn't stop hammering my skull with each method of execution his commanding officer lifts off. Shot. Slam. Electrified, drowned, poisoned, strangled, set on fire. Slam, 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 slam. And most recently tied to a pole naked, soaked in liquid sewage, and left outside for a week for the elements to kill you. You were supposed to freeze to death. How am I still speaking to you? Why are you still here? My head throbs something awful. Masochism, I say slowly. My tongue is consciously dry. It makes it hard to talk. Maybe I still have intelligence to gather. Perhaps all the head trauma you're giving me is making me too dizzy to escape. I know I could leave whenever I want. You certainly can't hold me against my will in this miserable outhouse you call a prison cell. Tell me, is this room you got your liquid sewage from? It wouldn't surprise me. This place looks and smells like a septic tank. My answer earns me another swing to the noggin. I expected that. The officer gets in my face and growl at me. You are here because you've been declared an enemy of the state. You are here because I'm supposed to be executing you, and yet you thwart me at every turn. How are you doing it, Beloff? How? To be honest, the tying me to a pole for a week nearly did me in. The frigid temperatures are actually what kept me alive in the sunlight. If it were warmer, my blood would have boiled. However, the officer doesn't know that. Oh, don't make me tell you my secret just yet. You'd surely kill me for real, then I'd lose my nickname. What a shame that would be, I say with a smirk. I'm not surprised when I'm hit again. I wonder if I should put this on my resume. 3 months experience as a piñata in a Russian remote prison camp. The man unkillable. That's what they call you, isn't it? Nonsense. Utter nonsense. It's clear he doesn't believe what he says. He's just saying it in hopes I will die if he tries hard enough. I see the terror growing in his eyes as he paces. We both know that if he can't do something as simple as kill me, he'll take my place in front of the firing squad, and when his superiors hear about his continued failure. He's so afraid I can practically taste it. It doesn't taste bad. How do I kill you? Why can't I kill you? He mutters. Get creative, I say with a laugh. Maybe you'll strike gold. I know he'll fail. I just want to watch him scramble. Cut his throat, Ivan. We'll watch him bleed out in front of us. I snort and let out hearty laughter as the officer's thug presses a blade to my throat. Then, as his ugly face nears mine, I catch a whiff of his breath. My confidence melts. This is the first thing to really scare me in this prison. I'm filled with nausea and weakness. I lurch away from the man and try to vomit, willing something to come up for some relief. Nothing can. There's nothing there. The agents notice my sudden change in demeanor. The officer makes a sound in the back of his throat. Could it be? The man unkillable finally fears for his life? And to think that all it took was a knife to the throat. I gag, even when the blade is brought to my neck again. I don't even care about the knife. The man's breath is horrible. Wait, he's not scared. He's trying to vomit. Why? Is he sick? Ivan, look at his teeth. I know. I shut my mouth quickly. Until now, I've hidden my fangs. I didn't want this officer or anyone else figuring it out. He's quiet for a minute, and then he goes, Ivan, have you had any garlic recently? Ivan answers in the affirmative. The officer's mouth twitches. Impossible. They're not real, are they? Unless. That would explain everything. Of course we haven't been able to kill you. You're a vampire. Time for me to leave. I change to a bat to escape my bonds and change back and grab Ivan, plunging my teeth into his neck. After months of being starved in prison, my first feed is downright euphoric. My pain melts away. I feel stronger, fuller. I drop the corpse once he's emptied. Blood runs down my chin. I don't even feel the new holes being blasted into my chest as the officer empties his gun into me. I couldn't care less about the bullets. They're not silver. I feel invincible. I am invincible. The officer runs once it's clear. I can't be held off. I let him. The longer the chase, the better the meal. The terrified officer shouts into his radio, warning his comrades, frantically telling them to arm themselves with wooden stake and garlic. At least until I catch him and his orders are cut off with a gurgling shriek. Yeah, I know the one after is a lot longer. Very long. Ugh. These are fun. They're imaginative and silly. Which is exactly what I expected from you, Molly. How many of you are still here? Yeah, I can tell that. No, I think we'll cut it off here. We'll do a little wind down. Everyone can share their thoughts in the chat. Um, I believe I put a link in the video description as to where you can find all of these. So if you do want to keep reading, we're in part 3, and we're up to unfinished business. Next week, I believe we're finishing Eye of the Universe, if I'm not mistaken, back on Ian's channel. So keep that in mind. That's been a really fun read, and interesting. It's very different to the normal Loinstream stuff, or at least the more recent Loinstream stuff. So yeah, I feel like that's been good. And I might pocket some of these for if I ever have to substitute again, because I think people enjoyed these. Yeah, I will keep this on the channel, Shez. I will keep it on the channel. I'm not gonna hide it. I have permission from Molly Blake, the author. She's in the chat right now, to read these, so I'll leave them on the channel. But I had fun. I enjoyed these. They're very imaginative, and I could imagine this being like a Sunday morning cartoon. In some instances, like some of it gets a little like too grim, or for me strays from like the point. But that's the trouble with writing prompts, is you're trying to fit a prompt into the writing. But if you remove the prompts and you went with the idea of the vampire mole cop and sort of that Sunday morning cartoon vibe, I feel like this could be like a great ongoing like cartoon series, of this like vampire in this crazy wacky like monster world, you know, being a mole cop, because like so many crazy things happen in a mole. But I feel like also the mole setting is kind of dying out these days. At least in America. Over here, malls are like, we call them shopping centers, but they're still they're actually like more popular than ever. But I believe over in America, you guys have a ton of like empty ones, like abandoned malls now, based on what I read. But yeah, it is. It's like a 90s MTV cartoon. Very much so. But with a little bit more comedy to it. Almost like a... I'm trying to think of what the show was. I'm really trying to remember the show. There's a particular one in mind. But yeah, it does have those like 90s vibes, like those Doug and Daria sort of vibes, like, that sort of feel. Um, with a little bit of Rugrats thrown in. Um, 100%. Add a little bit of Scooby Doo. Oh yeah, they wax those every day. I mean, this would even do well in like a comic book form. Like if you did like little like little six like strips where it's just like each page is like a little story as well, but don't get into comics, it's not worth it. But yeah, it is very much uniquely its own thing, and it's a great premise and a great idea, with likable characters with a lot of personality. And I could definitely see this being like, had this been like pitched to MTV or Fox in like the 90s, or even Cartoon Network to a degree back then, but I could have definitely seen this being picked up. 100% I could have seen this being picked up. So everyone, on the next Loinstream, let let Ian know how much you enjoyed this. And don't forget to check her channel out, because, you know, she is the queen of the loin queen. And, you know, I'll obviously be hanging out in the chat. And, you know, drop a like on this video and do the subscribey thing and all that. You don't even have to watch my content, but just play it on mute in the background and let me get those numbers up. And I feel like this was a fun break. It was fun, it was lighthearted, it was silly, and to the people who didn't show up to this one, let's have some in-jokes now. We can have some special jokes between us that they won't get, because we're cool kids in the cool kids club. We sit at the cool table. Always. It feels good to plug yourself sometimes, you know? There's no shame in plugging oneself. Yeah, we can have secret memes. Yeah, make memes of this and put them in the Discord, and I'll share them with Molly. Molly, we do this every Friday night. We do this every Friday night. We pick a book and we read it together. This is what we do. And there's normally more people than this, but it's a substitute stream. And we talk in the chat about the book. We make jokes. We make memes. We say what we like, what we don't like, etc. We never know if the book's going to be good or bad before we go into it. And we don't really look into it either. We just vote on a book based on the title and we read it. So that's what we do. And it's a lot of fun, and we normally learn a lot, like, because there's so many different people here, and what you're reading might mesh with someone and might not mesh with someone else, and like people might pick up on things. Usually they're bad books, so this is the exception. I like Eye of the Universe. I thought Eye of the Universe was really good, which was my suggestion because it seemed interesting. I'm enjoying that one so far. I thought Empress Teresa was... I'm actually not going to get into that. It wasn't for me, but Ian loved it. I thought Daniel B. Green's little novella was okay for a first ever written work. Like, this is the first time he's written something. I thought it was pretty good. So yeah. Yeah, the current one is about a dude stuck on a space station with a dead body, and he's like carting it around and he's gone crazy. It's really fun. Eve, I'm not the target audience for Eve, so I'm not going to comment on that. I was really, really bored for those ones. Sort of just watching them on 2x, and I just sort of zoned out most of the time because they just didn't do anything for me. But this was closer to up my alley. I don't normally do like comedic stuff, but I'm a sucker for like grim fairy tale things. So, there was that. And yeah, feel free. Like, I'll link you to Ian's Loinstream when she gets the link up, or closer to next week. And feel free to drop on in, Molly, and meet some other people. And I don't know, it's probably a bad one to join because it's the end of the book. But maybe after that, because yeah, Loinstream is life. But thanks for entertaining us with your books, your short stories tonight, Molly. It was a lot of fun. They only matter when they move the plot along. There are a lot of things in that book that just didn't matter. And for those going to sleep, have a good night. Rest well. And for those of you on my side of the world where it's nearly lunchtime, enjoy your lunch. If you're on Minds, hashtag Loinstream. And you know, we'll see each other again. It's not goodbye. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the good things. Yeah, Gabby, we're just wrapping up now. It's it's the end time. Like, I could go on all day. It's 11 a.m. here, but I'll keep the VOD up. I have, like, unlike the other ones, we have permission. And yeah, enjoy, stay safe, be healthy, keep writing and reading and being yourself. Smash that like button, subscribe. And if this video gets 100 likes, I'll release a singing video. $50 likes, and I'll do a bookshelf tour. How's that? Fire up those alternate accounts. I need to call my mum. Mum! Oh, nudes. You guys don't want nudes of me, do you? Do you? Sing Barbie Girl. In baritone or tenor? Molly, what was the glam rock song playing in the glam rock bomb? In the glitter bomb? Switch every time. So I'll have to do both. I'll have to do Ken and Barbie in that one. You want a deadpan? Deadpan I can do perfectly. All right, everyone. I'm going to end the stream now. It is officially 11:15. So girls just want to have fun. Jeez, they either play Barbie Girl. Well, that's not glam. None of that's glam rock. In future, here's my criticism then. In future, have them play like Pat Benatar, right? Or Patty Smythe. That's more fitting for the genre. But anyway, good night, everyone. Stay safe. Get plenty of sleep. Drink some water. And I will see you all in... Yeah, or heart. I will see you all in the next Loinstream. Love is a battlefield. Boom, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-bum, bum, bum, ba-dum, 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 bum. Good night.